Are we alive?
I believe so.
Cool.
I'm going to add the links everywhere, and you
you
can
do
kick
that.
this off.
I should have got my earbuds so I can actually test the audio, but they'll tell us straight away if
It's
not
exactly the same setup from last time, so I'm assuming.
So it's probably not
everything's
going to work then. It's probably a stuttery mess.
Yeah.
Well, bear with us. We're just going to set up. But we're hoping we might do a longer live stream today. We'll see how everyone in the chat's enjoying it and how we go for time. But yeah, we've set aside a bit more time instead of the usual, just the 1 hour. Okay, I've got the link now. Just opening that up.
Yep, all good.
Excellent.
Send this one to Twitter as well.
Tim and I have a few topics that we would like to discuss, but as usual, we'll see what the chat has to say about things, and usually they lead us in one direction or another. We've got Dan in the chat now, so someone's watching. We have someone watching. Oh, Sal's there. Hey, guys.
All the usual guys
Yeah.
from the Discord chat.
All the usual suspects. All right. Hopefully the audio and everything is working fine. Tim assures me that it is, so...
Well, like I said, it should be the exact same setup from last time. So unless some demon has gotten into the setup and completely destroyed everything, then
Cool.
we should still be good to go.
All right. What's mine doing? It's buffering. Bit of buffering going on. Oh, yep. No, we're away. Okay, well, I can watch the chat here.
Making sure we're not streaming 240p like my laptop says, but I think we are. I think we're all good at 1080, 60.
Excellent. Okay.
All right, and yeah, hello to all maybe the new people that have signed up to our Patreon feed in the last couple of...
have some new people in here.
Yeah, in the last couple of weeks. So it's good to have some new faces in the chat, both the live stream and in the Discord. Discord's really going off lately. It's been really good.
Yeah, it's good every time I jump in there to say hi and see what everyone's talking about. There's about 6 pages I got to scroll through.
Yeah.
It's usually mostly Sal Kagan.
But people tag me in stuff and I can't find where the tag is. I have to like scroll.
Yeah, I've had that
scroll
problem a
back
few
so
times.
far.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting a bit out of control.
Yeah.
So. But no, that's good. Okay, well, we've got a few things to talk about. We can talk about anything as usual, but we've got B450 motherboards turning up very soon. We've got some rumours about the 9th Gen Intel stuff. Tim's been pulling mice apart and putting things in them for his new monitor testing setup, so that's kind of interesting. He showed me some of that just then. Yeah, a few things. I'll have to tell you guys this story because I think some of you'll...
Oh, this is good.
You'll laugh. I'm just getting... Hopefully my chat stays caught up. So we really didn't know where we stand with Intel at the moment because at the best of times, Intel's extremely difficult to deal with. They use a local PR company, you would say.
Yeah. Not direct through them,
no,
like a lot of companies.
Yeah, that's right. And so I think Jared of Jared's Tech deals with them as well. And they're just an absolute nightmare to deal with. And they haven't spoken to me pretty much all year, really. So, yeah, we weren't sure what was going on there. Anyway, they reached out 2 weeks ago and they said, we would really like you to do a review on the 8086K. So that was kind of funny. It's a bit late, but anyway. So I obviously have no intention of reviewing it or want to review it. But they said, we can send you out a chip and, you can do a review and whatever. And I thought, well, good opportunity to get some B-roll of that chip and get all that sort of stuff. It's always handy to have the B-roll. So I said, sure, send it out. And we might end up doing something with it. Anyway, I get the package and this is it. They've sent me this box. So, I mean, I know packaging isn't super important, but it's like an anniversary edition, a special edition CPU. You would think they would send the box so we can film that, show the B-roll of the box.
It's the important thing about the processor.
It's as stupid as it is, the box is...
You're buying a special edition, limited edition processor. You want the packaging, you want 8086K printed on it and everything.
So I get this and I'm like, okay, well, first of all, that sucks because I really wanted to get some nice B-roll of the box. I know it's not important, but still I wanted to. I open this up and this is the chip inside. It's a QS chip, so qualification sample. It doesn't even say 8086 on it. It just has the base clock and Intel Confidential printed on there. So, I don't know. It's the most pointless thing ever. I emailed them about it and said, we're probably not going to use that because we can't really get any B-roll of it. It's defeats the whole purpose as far as I'm concerned. So that's... What can I say? I don't know. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we won't be doing 86K content.
And knowing them, they'll want this back as well.
Oh, they definitely will want
Yeah.
that back, yeah. So, I don't know. So anyway, that's not happening. And I did ask them about the 9th gen stuff. I'm like, well, the rumours sort of have that landing pretty soon. So do you have a review program for that? Are we getting samples? What's happening? And of course, I've heard nothing. So, yeah, don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, so... Yeah, some people are saying, yeah, don't even do a build or anything with it. We won't be,
Well, it's
because
not-
it's just buy an 8700K and overclock it.
Yeah, it's not something we want to promote or push. To be perfectly honest with you guys, one of the main reasons why I said, sure, send it to me, was because I'm like, well, that's going to be awesome B-roll for my next top 5 worst CPUs video. Anyway,
Yeah,
maybe I'll just I'll get some B-roll this box and just have the CPU fall
I mean,
out.
It's just... And we know that for a lot of... At least we're speculating that a lot of 9th gen chips will be very similar to an 8086K in what they're doing. Like...
Yes.
Slightly overclocked. I mean, they've released the specs officially for like all the 6-core ones. It's like they're just giving you 200 megahertz more.
Yeah, it's a nothing
So
release.
for something like the 9600K, which will still be 6-core, 6-thread, and you get like 200 megahertz more, there's no point even buying it because you could just overclock the old 8600K to exactly the same level. It's the same silicon. It will be the same silicon everything.
Yeah, for the unlocked chips, it's extremely pointless. For the locked chips, it's like, okay, you get a small performance boost, but it's not for free. Like, it uses slightly more power. It'll run slightly hotter. But you're getting a slightly faster chip for hopefully what'll be the same price 6 months after it's released. Yeah, it's going to be a very boring release. Basically, the Z390 chipset will be new. I don't know what the deal is there. We discussed that. Well, maybe, yeah. We discussed that in the Discord chat the other day. And then we had a bit of discussion about whether they'll be dropping support for the Z370 boards for the... I don't know. I can't see that happening. It would be just a catastrophic mess if they do.
Well, as Nick says, only the 8-core will be worth checking out. And
That's right.
It does seem that way. I mean,
absolutely.
The other chips, it's always worth having them just so that whenever we're recommending CPUs, we're recommending the latest stuff. So whether that's like a 9600K or whatever.
Yeah.
But really, in terms of interest, I mean, releasing a new chip and making it 100 megahertz higher clocked is not interesting at all. So.
Well, that's what we've been looking at for, the last 3 generations or so. It's like they desperately need DDR5 memory so they can be like, look, something new.
Yeah.
An actual reason to release new motherboards and chipsets.
It does seem like DDR5 is ramping up a bit in terms of production. They've been talking about LPDDR5 for low power stuff.
Yeah, you'll probably get that first.
So, yeah, it could be entering another memory transition soon, but you never know. Well, we are entering a memory transition for GDDR stuff.
Yes,
So,
that's right. We should be anyway. Well, we'll get onto that in a minute. And then the other thing was the soldering of the chips. There was that
potentially rumors about that.
rumor that broke. I don't know. We discussed that in the Discord chat. But to recap, I personally don't think they will do it. If they do, it'll only be for the 8-core, I reckon. But then even though, I just can't see them doing it. They didn't solder the 18-core, so...
So if they're suddenly changing heart, I mean, it's such a, like, as much as we love chips being soldered because you get better thermal performance, it's still a pretty niche issue for a lot of people. Like,
what do you mean?
For system builders, I think whether the chip is soldered or not doesn't make a ton of difference.
Do you reckon? If the 8700 non-K was soldered, it probably wouldn't throttle. I mean, it's still putting out that heat. I get that. So you've still got to disperse that with a cooler.
I mean, it'll run 20 degrees cooler or 10 degrees cooler or whatever amount of performance cooler.
It's definitely a bottleneck.
But I just don't think that it makes that much of... Because, like,
a
lot of chips, people aren't overclocking them.
Has anyone delidded an 8700 and then put the box cooler back on and seen if it actually avoids throttling? That's interesting. That would actually be a delid worth doing out of interest.
For enthusiasts that are overclocking, you've got like your top end parts, like your 8700K, and then sure, it would sort of make sense for those parts to be soldered.
Oh, absolutely. Like
but people would delid them
because even the 8350K, even that thing overclocked is like hugely.
Yeah, I just think that like AMD, their entire lineup is soldered. I think a lot of people for Intel, like as much as people love to say they're soldered, a lot of people don't overclock their chips and they run just fine, or at least fine enough
Sure.
with their stupid, crappy TIM in there.
I think honestly, if Intel had the locked chips with the paste, I don't think anyone would have a problem with that.
Yeah.
It's the unlocked chips. Like, you're paying a premium for what is essentially the same CPU, but you've unlocked the multiplier. Wow, thank you so much for that.
Those should be.
They should definitely be soldered.
But I just think for a lot of your regular non-enthusiast users, whether it's soldered or not, it's not really a selling point aside from like a small percentage of people.
Yeah, I totally accept that. The unlocked stuff should be soldered, and I don't think they're going to do it though.
No, they're
because they're looking at a decrease in sales as it is, so they're not going to.
They love their margins too.
Yeah, that's right. They're not going to take a hit on profits when they're seeing less sales.
And they're already potentially looking down. AMD having a more competitive CPU lineup. Next year with Zen 2, in which case, they're going to want to have at least some room to change the pricing to keep it competitive. And if they're making the chips more expensive to manufacture by soldering them, then that cuts down on how much room they have to move on pricing. I think they'd be much more willing to price it competitively without making it soldered. And just, it's so common now, a thing of being people delidding their CPU for enthusiast stuff.
Yep.
That, I'm sure they're just willing to just be like, you can delid it if you want, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yes, I think the rumor's wrong on that one. I don't think we're going to see it, but it would be amazing if the next gen unlocked CPUs were soldered. But anyway, and then you touched on, we were talking about the GDDR6 memory and GPU stuff. So earlier this year, or it might have been late last year, I'll have to go back and find the video, but I think it was around January, I said I'm expecting NVIDIA's next-gen GPUs to be late in the year. August was the month that I just plucked out of thin air. August made sense to me based on everything. And it's pretty funny, that comment section. I got roasted by a whole heap of people telling me that it'll definitely be, what was it, March or something? When the 10 series. Yeah. And I said, it's not happening that early in the year.
Because people think there are all sorts of dates being thrown up.
People
GDC was a big one back then.
People thought it would be the same time they released the 10 series.
Yeah, which was GDC of a few years ago.
And I didn't think it would be because of a few reasons. Anyway, it's looking now like it will probably be August, September. I think an August probably announcement. September, you'll be able to get grab your mittens on them.
Yeah, so, we said a while back, maybe a couple of weeks ago maybe, that there were some signs from what we've been hearing that it was pointing towards a launch at the end of July, but then there was that spanner in the works with the alleged stock issues, and the original launch plan seemed like back then, with that information, that it would be like July launch, August would be Founders Edition, then September would be partner cards.
Yes. But that's a perfect example of why you don't make videos on that information, and why I did that whole parody satire video, because
stuff happens so frequently that stuff can change.
We were told by really good sources that don't often get things wrong, and they were probably right at the time that it was coming on the 30th. Like, we had a lot of people, a lot of reliable, multiple different sources tell us that, and we were like, but we didn't have anything really solid to go on. So we're like, well, we're not going to make a video about it. We'll just wait and see, and if they come out, they come out, and we'll do an official video then. And certain YouTubers made videos saying they're definitely coming. I've got the inside scoop.
And that's the thing. If you say it's definitely coming and it doesn't come, you just open yourself up to...
Well, the funny thing is they were reporting on information that we were given 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
So
it does seem like, at least this is all still a guess.
100% guess.
With the stock issues sort of being a potential thing that, NVIDIA doesn't really want to open themselves up to having their current lineup of cards just completely stop being sold. They still want to push as many of those as possible. So it does seem like we might be getting still the partner cards in September, but just pushing up the launch of when NVIDIA actually says, hey guys, we have new cards, back at least a month, if not more, just so that, they can keep trying to sell as much stock as possible. But they're still definitely coming, and I still think it's definitely this year. I think you just were looking earlier that there's a report from TSMC that was saying they expect that they're going to get a nice boost in revenue from NVIDIA.
Yeah, and that report makes sense. That information does make sense.
Yeah, and that's coming from, I assume, from TSMC, who would have to have investors and all sorts of people that have to, give accurate predictions for their upcoming stock prices and stuff.
Yeah, so hopefully there's nice availability and MSRP pricing in time for Christmas. That'd be good. kind of a nice Christmas gift for a lot of gamers.
Yeah, we'll have them. They'll be out in September, but you won't be able to buy them because there'll be no stock. And
That's
then
right.
For months and months, they'll be like
Hopefully in
$400
time. Yeah,
overpriced.
hopefully in time for Christmas, you better get your hands on one. And then I reckon AMD probably March next year.
Yeah, they're still a while.
Yeah, at the earliest.
But it does seem like they're jumping straight into 7 nanometer with whatever their next gen stuff is, whereas still seems unclear at the moment. It will be too early for 7 nanometer for Nvidia.
Jardesk goes, it's definitely coming sometime in the future, maybe.
Yeah. And I mean,
so true.
I did hear from a laptop manufacturer that they've always been planning for November for new laptop GPUs.
Yep.
So that was a lot. When I heard that for the first time, I was like, oh, that's pretty late. I was a bit surprised by that.
They usually come in a bit late, though. Well, the 10 series launch was many months after,
but it seems like they're still they would be much more aggressive this time around because of the popularity of that sort of stuff. So
Kagan says, I predict March 2nd for Navi. And the AMD Ryzen 3000 series. Wow, that will be an epic month if that happens.
Geez, a way to make our lives difficult testing.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll try and spread that out or they'll just go bam, here it is.
And
but that'll be a huge turning point for AMD. Right?
Yeah, 7 nanometer should be.
Intel and Nvidia are super lucky, in my opinion, that they're being paired together for a lot of reviews. Because if you had an AMD flagship card that was as fast as the 1080 Ti or faster, and most people were using that, it'd be a different situation for Ryzen, an even better one, basically.
Yeah.
So that could be a turning point's probably the wrong word to use, but a slam dunk. I don't know what's it's going to be good for AMD.
Yeah, it's hard to see AMD with their current architecture at least making a misstep in the near future. No. Like with GPUs, they're so far behind in terms of their technology that it's kind of like the next GPU could just either be as not competitive in the high end as it is now, or it's actually going to be improving. Like they can't really get much worse.
It's not. You're making it sound worse than it is, but I know what you mean.
I mean, from the perspective that they don't have a card that competes with the 1080 Ti.
Yeah.
Like they could just continue to compete in sort of the mid-range to up to GTX 1080 level cards, which for the next gen would be competing at 1080 Ti level, but leaving Nvidia's next faster than that card unopposed. They can either just continue doing that, or they can only go up. And with Zen, I mean, Zen's already been proven to be a good architecture, so shrinking that down, making modifications with Zen 2, bring it to 7 nanometer, it's hard to see them going backwards.
Yeah, Ryzen's going to be pretty awesome next year, I think.
Yep.
That was good this year, but
it was.
It's going to be a lot better next year.
Yeah, especially with Intel stuffing around.
Who? Right, next.
Someone asked me a while back about a camera being a bit different. Yeah, it is different.
Oh, your lens, yep.
I got a new lens for my camera. I'll probably make a behind-the-scenes video about that at some point in the future. But I changed a few things up with the camera setup, which you might have seen in a few of the latest videos.
It weighs about 10 kilos now, Tim's
camera.
Yeah,
it's a lot heavier, but it's a good-looking lens. So a lot of much more improved B-roll and A-roll stuff. So it should look a fair bit better.
Yeah, I want to have a play with that later on today to see if it's a lens I should be looking at getting. But it's extremely heavy. So Tim was going to go to the gym, but you don't need to anymore. Just do a couple of sets with your camera. It's seriously heavy.
Yeah, I mean, the new lens has allowed me to dim the lights more. The lights are at like half of what they used to be in terms of brightness.
It goes down to f1.2, doesn't it?
And yeah, f1.2, so I can shoot at a lower ISO, so you get that high quality image. And I've also changed the camera profile, so it's shooting flatter, which is used for this live stream just because we post-process it.
Okay, yep.
So shooting flatter means that it's softer.
You'll have to make a
there's more detail
profile.
and everything in there. Yeah, I'll have to make a profile on the camera. And the background should be more blurred, so you get all those nice features. Is it a Canon 50mm? No, I have a Canon 50mm f1.8, but this is the Sigma 18 to 35 f1.8. So when you convert that down to the Micro Four Thirds we use Panasonic cameras. That's f1.2. So it's really nice, but it's I'd say it's more difficult to work with than what we were using because the depth of field is much more shallow, so focusing is more difficult. But much better for low light. And,
on a tripod, it's perfectly fine as long as I don't go back here.
Yeah, so you can shoot much closer. It's much wider angle, all that sort of really nice stuff. And yeah. So yeah, use it with the speed booster, and haven't had any problems with it. So
yeah,
that's it. I don't have this Metabone speed booster. I have the Viltrox one that a lot of people are talking about at the moment.
Okay, and so are you using that to replace both the lenses that you had?
Yeah. So previously I was using the Panasonic 14 to 35 or whatever it's called, 12 to 35 f2.8. But now, basically this is just replacing it.
Yeah, so there's no autofocus.
Yeah, so autofocus, to be fair, it does work.
Okay.
As in it's functional.
Okay, it's just...
But it doesn't work very well.
Okay.
It hunts a lot and tends to fall a little bit short of the required focal length.
That's right, you were saying that, yeah.
So when you go for like a manual focus, or a single focus, it'll come just a tad short of where it should be, which is just an issue with the
You wouldn't be using that setup with... You wouldn't have used autofocus previously anyway, would you?
No, I almost always use manual focus just because it's a bit better.
It's not a practical vlogging lens.
So using it for autofocus, it's good to get it in the sort of region of where you want to be focused, but continuous autofocus is not usable at all.
I've got the
I've
got the GH5, and I think the autofocus on that's actually pretty awesome.
It's pretty good, yeah.
The G85, not so good. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, as someone that doesn't shoot autofocus, I mean, that was the main downside of switching to the speed booster style lens setups using Canon lenses on the Panasonic cameras. So yeah, that was sort of the thing that I was concerned about would be autofocus, but it's not something I use, and the advantages for low light and background blur and all that sort of thing is so much better with this new lens that...
Yeah, well, at Computex, we took those f2.8 lenses. They're really good.
Yeah,
but
so you've got the
1.4.
Yeah, you've got the 12mm 1.4, which is amazing. And this is slightly brighter than that, and it's got zoom functionality and a few other things, but it's much heavier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll talk about that more in a behind-the-scenes video for people interested in camera gear, because I really love getting into the camera gear stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it.
But, yeah, we like playing around with a lot of that stuff, and, yeah... And yeah, we did use autofocus a fair bit on the Computex show floor just to speed stuff up a bit.
That's when we worked out the GH5's inbuilt stabilization is so much better than the G85 and the G7, and the autofocus is way better as well. Like fast, so precise. At least it was with the lenses.
Yeah, they've definitely improved that.
So that was really good.
This setup wouldn't be a very good Computex setup because the lens is quite heavy. Like the whole lens setup is over a kilo, whereas the old lens is 300 grams or something.
Yeah.
But for all the stuff we do here, it's really good. And I'll be switching between this and the 50mm Canon one. Because this for close-ups, the depth of field, like it can go closer, but the depth of field becomes really shallow and it's basically unusable.
Yeah, I've seen.
Whereas
you can like just maybe get a USB port in focus.
Yeah,
or something.
like a Lego minifigure would have its head in focus and the body out of focus. That's how shallow it is.
That's insane.
So whereas the 50mm provides a similar frame, but you can get it further out, so your depth of field is better with the same amount of brightness with your light. So fun to play around with that stuff. But let's get back into talking about PC hardware.
Sorry, Jardeth or Jared just said, Steve, you're saying the autofocus with the GH5 is good with Panasonic lenses. Yeah, well...
It depends which one you have.
The 1.4 was amazing.
The 1.4 is very good.
And we were in some very low light, really crappy lit situations.
You want a prime for really fast autofocus. Prime lenses always, well, at least for most lenses, have faster autofocus than your zooms.
So we were just walking around and in really bad lighting, and it was just... focused exactly where we wanted the whole time.
It was fairly quick, and you've been messing around with continuous as well, and that's been good.
Yeah, and we didn't use a gimbal or anything. It was just the inbuilt stabilization.
Yeah, inbuilt stabilization and the warp stabilizer, provided that you aren't too shaky.
Well, yeah, it can't be too bad. Yeah, and if you move really fast, it just loses its mind.
So yeah, we were messing around with all the camera stuff. We always want to improve our camera gear to give you guys the best quality image and everything. So. Yeah, and Jarvis says 1835 with the speed booster. Like I said, that's a very good kit. But if you really want the autofocus stuff, then the 12mm 1.4, which is some ridiculous amount of money. It's like 1,500 Aussie dollars or something. Whereas this setup was under 1,000.
Well, that's how much my lens was, the 1.4. Yeah. So, anyway.
But again, you want to have a variety of stuff that allows you to test and use your camera in all sorts of different environments. So, while this does a lot of what the f1.4 Panasonic lens does, the Panasonic's better for other things. So
And speaking of back to the GPUs real quick, as far as we can tell, we're still in NVIDIA's good books.
Yeah, they're still contacting us about
so
stuff.
we had a chat with them the other day and nothing was said, no questions were asked. So as far as we can tell, when the new GPUs are coming out, we're on the list to get them. So Tim thinks they probably haven't seen our video, so I don't know.
Well, we've talked all about the GPP. We just slammed the GT 1030 DDR4 recently.
Some funny comments on that as well we
So,
can discuss.
oh my god, the comments on that video are just hilarious. But if there was any reason to sort of become less favourable towards us, it was definitely covering those two things. So
yeah, well, they went quiet on us for a while. We didn't really hear anything, and we thought, okay.
yeah, that's right.
But anyway, they seem happy with us, so it seems like we should
Happy
be
enough. Yeah.
happy enough. We should be getting samples when they're ready. So that's good, I suppose. Well, it's
Yeah.
very good, but
Yeah, but there's, as you're saying about the comments, there seem to be a lot of people on the GT 1030 video thinking that our video was negative towards GT 1030s in general. So that includes the GDDR5 one, of course.
there's a lot of funny comments.
Which is just like, I honestly don't know how you could watch the video and think that we were slamming the GT 1030 when it was so clear in the charts and everything. The things we highlighted were the GDDR5 and the DDR4 one. The DDR4 one's always slower. It's the same, effectively the same price. It's called the same thing. And just people in the comments being like, the GT 1030 is good for, you know, home theater PCs. You know, it's not meant for gaming.
So many people pointed out. So many
point.
people pointed out that it's not a GTX graphics card; it's a GT10.
Yeah,
sorry, a
that's right.
GT card. But I think at the start of that video as well, I sort of said, you know, the GT 1030. It is what it is. We don't have a problem with it. We'd probably recommend you get a GTX 1050 or something like that instead. But don't have a problem with the GDDR5 version. It's the DDR4 version.
And Sarah Kagan says it's not good for HT
It's not good for anything. It has no use. It's just.
But the GT 1030 in particular, as in a general card, even the GDDR5 one, because it doesn't do a lot of the acceleration that you can get from like an APU,
Sure.
or even modern Intel processors can run 4K videos quite well. Like, as long as you don't have a super outdated system, you're better off moving to an APU or something. To get those sort of media engine features, and you know, you get a more compact system as well.
But I mean, that's beside the point.
That's not the point for that video.
No, well, it's not the point. Full stop. It doesn't. Even if it was still okay at gaming, or it was a really good home theater PC card, it still doesn't matter that it's 50% slower. It's the same name and the same price.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point of the video.
I mean, you could even get upset about like the GTX 1060 3GB and 6GB cards and say, no, you can't do that. But NVIDIA could say, no, the naming doesn't, you know, we can have any specifications under any name. It's the resulting performance. And, you know, although 1060 should be that sort of level of performance, it's pretty close and it's decent in terms of value. So if the 4GB version, the DDR4 version was like, I don't know, quarter of the price.
Yeah.
I mean, it still doesn't make sense because it doesn't stack up in terms of performance. But if they'd made a spec change, but it was 10% slower and it was 15 or 20% cheaper, then it'd be like, yeah, okay, it's a bit misleading, but no one's really getting rolled in that deal.
Yeah.
You're buying a cheaper graphics card and it's a little bit slower, but you got it a lot cheaper. So, and that's why the 3GB 1060 is okay. It's not terrible. I'd still rather they didn't do it, but at least in that sense, you're still getting a good value product. If it was 50% slower and 20% cheaper, that would suck. It's just really misleading.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are quick to jump on people criticizing a card like the GT 1030 because there's a lot of general criticism of like low-end cards.
Yeah, because of the stance Linus takes, which I don't necessarily disagree with.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to say that like you can spend a very small amount of money more than a GT 1030 and get a significantly faster
It's
card.
like true of just about anything though, buying a car.
Yeah, that's
especially for like like for me, it's always they always push like Hyundai and whatever. This a brand new driveway $16,000 car. It's like but you could buy the same thing a year old for less than half that.
Yeah, and that's another good point. Is like used GPUs, you'd be better off going to the used market than buying a GT 1030.
Let's say if you want to buy a GTX 1070 right now, you'd be better off buying one second hand. But better off in the sense that you would get the same product hopefully for a lot less or some sort of discount. But then you run the risk of, has it been used for mining and
how long has it got left?
Yeah, and has it been undervolted and all the appropriate stuff done when mining, or has it been running at max temp on the edge and coil winding its head off?
Yeah. So
they're the obvious pitfalls when you buy a second hand.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't personally recommend a card like a GT 1030, but there are some people where that card does make sense to buy. For some.
They're not wrong to offer those cards.
Yeah,
and like we would tell our audience, if you've got a good used second-hand market in your region, look up a GTX, a GTX
or if you have
$10
or $20 more, then you're better off just allocating your budget slightly differently.
Yeah, sure. But then it's, parents where they've got young kids that play Fortnite and they've done a bit of research and they see that, like I said in my video, the GT 1030 does 60 FPS in Fortnite, so I'll just get that instead of having, and you get a warranty.
If you want all the benefits of a new card and you have exactly that amount of money to spend, then...
Because you're not saving money if you buy a graphics card for 30% off second hand and then it dies a few months down the track, and then you have to go buy a new one anyway. So it's just, there's obvious pitfalls of buying second hand, so you shouldn't say to people they have to buy second hand. But anyway, that's all fairly obvious. So but yeah, there was a lot of funny comments on that. It kept us amused for quite a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to buy it for, Jonathan says here, I bought a GT, 710.
Yeah.
Just have more than one VGA output. It's like,
That's a reason to buy
the DDR4 version does that, and if it was half the price, then we'd have less of a problem with it, let's just say
it's just with that card, buy the GDDR5 one. That's it.
It's the same price. In Australia, it's cheaper to buy the G...
It's
mind-blowing. I don't understand.
You had a few other topics hooked up, didn't you?
Well, we've got tons of stuff we could talk about. We talked about Actually, I did stuff last minute. We got the B450 motherboards. I don't know...
I actually didn't talk about my monitor testing, but we'll get to that after the B450 stuff.
Yep. Yeah, we got the B450 motherboards coming. I don't know if the actual official release date has been announced or not, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway, because it's the B450 motherboards. Who cares? So it's the 31st of this month. It'll be 11 p.m. local time for us, so we won't have our 5 o'clock video. It'll be at 11 p.m. We got a couple of... I'm hoping to have boards from Gigabyte, Asus, ASRock, MSI, so pretty much all the main guys. As far as I can tell at this point, they're just B350 boards.
Well, we saw them at Computex. I mean, these aren't like products that have never been seen before. We've talked about B450 before.
So the ASRock boards look like... I've confirmed some of the VRM stuff with some of the companies. So ASRock are doing a 3-phase VRM, but it's got a doubler, so it's 6 phases, but it's only a 3-phase VRM. So I don't know, 3 phases. That's that's sketchy, I think. But that's for all their boards, even their premium B450s at this point. So MSI are doing 4-phase boards, and there's no doubler on those. It's just a 4+2, so they're calling it 6-phase or whatever. But that's 4-phase for the vehicle. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how 4 true phases stack up against a 3+3 in terms of how hot they get. And
well, you'll have plenty of B450 boards to test.
Yeah, I've got plenty to try that out with. So anyway, we've got that. I'm going to do a B450 unboxing probably over the weekend, so we'll get the boards out, go over them, have a bit of a look. I mean, we sort of did that at Computex anyway, but it'll be a bit of fun.
We'll have the retail packaging this time. So
ZZR Hardy hasn't got me any new drinks, so it's not going to be... I might have to try and work something out there. I don't know what I'm going to do without the drink gag. So yeah, with B450 boards, I don't know what Gigabyte or Asus are sending because those boards haven't arrived yet. They're in the mail, so...
But yeah, so we'll have a few content pieces around that at the end of the month, and then someone mentioned a Threadripper 2 that's coming soon as well. Yeah,
well, obviously we've got the B450 before Threadripper 2. I'm going to do... So we'll do the unboxing, then I'm going to do a B450 build, so hopefully that's somewhat interesting. And then we'll do the release day coverage, which is testing out overclocking, checking out memory support.
All the stuff that make motherboards interesting, which is not that much stuff.
We'll come up with something. So that's gonna be a challenge for me to do. That should be all right. Dan says I could send you some nice English beers.
And if shipping from the UK wasn't so expensive, international shipping is, especially for drinks, is quite horrific.
Yeah, it's probably not worth it, but I appreciate it. Thank you. So that's pretty much the B450 stuff. Then we have the Threadripper 2 stuff. When is that event? It's like the 28th or something, I think it was, for the one in Italy. It's been leaked, the news about that. So we're not going to the event because I think we only talked about this in Discord. We didn't chat about it last month on the live stream.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably worth talking about. I mean, I think with these sort of things, especially for us in Australia, it doesn't make sense for us to fly internationally to attend an event where they show us a PDF.
No, it's a complete waste of time.
So the way these things usually work is that, a company has a new product. They're like, we've got an event coming up. And where our event will launch the product, you go there, we'll tell you everything you need to know, and we'll give you samples there at the event, or alternatively, shortly after they'll send it out. So if they're sending it out, first of all, there's no reason to go whatsoever because all the information they could just give us anyway. But if they are, handing out review units at an event, there is no point sending us if they could just mail us the units. Like the cost of sending us to Europe, like even one of us, is thousands and thousands of dollars on flights and accommodation.
Yeah.
And the shipping for the product that they're trying to send is like $100, if that.
Makes no sense.
So it's so bizarre that companies are much more willing to send people to events spending literally thousands of dollars rather than letting us stay home and just shipping the product.
I know, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to anyway because it pisses me right off. Everything Tim just said, and we had a bit of a shit fight with AMD over us not attending the event, but that's been sorted out, so there's no need to go into that. But it really annoys me because, as Tim said, it costs a significant amount of money to send us over there to watch.
Yeah, send us anywhere, even sending us to the nearest international destination.
Sure, but to Italy, and then accommodation, it's like 3 nights we'd be there for, or something like that, 2 or 3 nights. All that money, and then they're sending, for our region, for the Asia-Pacific region, there is one 32-core thread sample. So we're getting it first, so that's nice, even though we're not going to the event. We're going to do all the testing and review it. Then it has to be sent to someone else. Then it's going to circulate the Australian media. And then finally, when that's done, come back to us. And we want 2. So I don't know how that's going to go. But they're spending all this money to send the Australian media over there to watch a slideshow, essentially. And then we get one sample to promote this product and test it out for you guys to find out if it's any good. So that just... it really drives me crazy.
Like, if you guys have seen, I'm sure you've seen on many like launch posts of these products, when the NDA expires, right, and you see those like slide decks being...
that's what we sit there and watch.
That is literally what we sit and watch.
Yeah, but...
for like hours.
But each slide is up there for 10, 15 minutes.
Each slide is up there and elaborated on. And most of the time, like, companies will not say anything that's not in the slides.
No, you don't get any extra information. You can ask questions at the end, and if you've...
and you'll be lucky to get one bit of crucial information.
Yeah, you can ask questions at the end and you're like, okay, here's some questions. Oh, we can't answer that. Oh, we're not releasing pricing at this point. We can't answer that. We can't answer that yet. It's like, okay, great.
And they would spend, like, you'd have a 2-hour press event, and at least half an hour of that event, if not more, will be them going through their old products and telling you how good their company is. Like, no joke. They will sit there at the start, and this, not just for AMD, any company. They'll sit there and be like, we've had 20% growth in the last year. We were really happy with our last generation products. They sold really well. We've entered so many new markets. People are really happy. Here's some comments that we've put in a slide for you guys to see. Users are super happy. It's got 5 stars on Amazon, and they'll go through that for like literally half an hour. And we're like, we're not here for you to tell us how your AMD products or whatever products will
they'll go over the RX 500 series again. They'll go over Vega. It's like, guys, come on. Yeah. So I'll probably be sending a sharply worded email after the Threadripper 32 core launch to try and get some attention somewhere, because it's just annoying. It just wastes our time. We can't make any content out of it, and it just wastes a ton of their money. Like, I don't know how they can allocate tens of thousands of dollars to travel and all that sort of stuff, and we only get one 32 core Threadripper CPU.
We always figure, right, like, if you're going to be spending, say, $5,000 on flying us over there and giving us a sample, why wouldn't you not spend the $5,000 at all and send us the sample here, which you were going to give us the sample anyway, so that's equivalent, and then instead of getting the sample back off us, buy a second sample, which would be
How much is
Like-
a 32 core
like
Threadripper
a
CPU
32 core,
costing AMD?
like maybe a few thousand, and this is for a high-end product. Like a lot of the time, these products are $500 or less.
Yeah, this is
So
that's right.
let's just assume it's a $500 product, right?
Yep.
Like they could buy one or two more samples. And they've still got $4,000 extra dollars of the $5,000 to, I don't know, maybe they could, consider advertising on Hardware Unboxed or something like that, right?
That's a good. No, we wouldn't do that anyway.
I mean, we wouldn't do that, but like,
Yeah, I know
it
what you're
would-
saying, yeah.
it would help us out so much more rather than spending $5,000 sending us overseas. Is
Yeah.
to
I love how people are like, oh, they're
Spend
bribing the
$5,000 in
media.
advertising.
They're bribing the media. They're sending them to Italy. It's like nobody wants to go.
Yeah.
Nobody wants
Yeah,
to go.
it's-
It's just
like it
absolute
sounds
inconvenient.
awesome, right?
Yeah, it sounds great.
like
and it's terrible.
all expenses paid trip to Italy, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's 24 hours of flying each way for us.
Well, I have to drive 2 hours to the airport,
Yep.
wait at the airport for 2 hours, get on a plane for 23 hours. Then it's usually an hour or two drive to wherever the venue is from the airport. You get there completely wrecked. You unpack. You go have a dinner of some description. You go to sleep. You wake up the next day still feeling like absolute crap.
and
You
and flying to Europe's the worst time zone difference as well.
Then you go to some event, you sit there for 3 hours trying to keep your eyes open while you watch a bloody presentation. Then after that, you usually go and waste time sitting around doing nothing for hours on end. Then it's a dinner thing. Then you go to bed, you wake up the next day, you waste most of that day, and then you go to the airport. You sit on a plane for
Yeah.
23 hours,
So
then you got to drive home for 2
Yeah,
hours.
it's not like we're going
it's
to
a
Italy
whole
and
week.
we're not visiting the Colosseum or the
no,
Leaning
there's
Tower
no
of Pisa.
sightseeing. There's none
of
of
that.
Nah. So
It's just annoying.
basically, it's
And not only that, it's days off our schedule that we would otherwise be spending making
Yeah.
content.
It's like, how about you guys be the courier to get your review sample and do no content for a week?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And like, we get why companies want to do it because there's a lot of people that attend these events that aren't as familiar with the products. They're not as knowledgeable about testing. They're more on the news front or whatever. And for those people, getting the information, being able to ask questions, being given advice on how to test by these companies, which they often do, that's what the events are for. They're for those people. But for us, we're very, very familiar with these products. We will get sent the review kit, no problems. We will read that. We know all the specs. We know how to test these things properly. And often we will ignore their advice because their testing advice is designed to paint their products in the best light a lot of the time.
There was a lot of push for 4K testing with
Yeah.
Horizon. Dan
So-
says, happy to be a hub proxy. I can sleep during the press event and go on holidays afterwards. We were joking about, because the Patreon members, technically we could probably say that someone's an employee and send them in our place to do that. And they could mail back the... if they were going to make it mandatory that we had to go to get the sample, it was looking like that for a while until I sort of dug my heels in, we were going to offer someone a trip to Italy. And all we had to do was mail us back the sample
Yeah,
and attend some really boring press events.
yeah, I was even going to send my girlfriend there who's not super into tech, so she wouldn't really know all that much and would be bored out of her brains.
Yeah,
But
that'd be torture.
yeah,
Absolute torture. It's only a 3-hour flight for Dan, so that could have been an option.
but yeah, so... Yeah, this is very, very common. Like, it's
Yeah.
not really a dig at AMD or any company. Like, lots of companies do this.
No, they're getting more aggressive with it, like making you... Yeah, it's bribing you to go to get your
Yeah, it is a
sample.
bribe. It's
like, no, we don't do that crap.
like, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would rather we spend 3 days at home making more videos that you guys want to watch and getting the sample sent to us and the company saving money as opposed to us wasting our time not being able to make content.
It's just an old school way of doing it. It's been like that since the dawn of time.
It's not going to change.
I think it will because our channel is just going to hopefully keep growing, getting bigger. So they're going to want us there more and more. We're pushing back and saying no. I know Steve from Gamers Nexus, I've spoke to him about it. I think he's mentioned on his channel that he has no time for press events or any of that kind of crap, which is we're exactly the same. We've always been that way. So he says no. So I think as more and more guys see... Because I know even Steve from Gamers Nexus, he'll be influencing guys like Jay's 2 cents and that.
Yeah, and
if he's telling them I'm not going and they're like, well, if they're not going...
it's all about a value perspective for us. Like, if there's no value in us going and they're not presenting the value for us to want to go, like for some people, the value is in going on the travel, is
Well, if
meeting
we-
the
yeah,
people,
that's right.
is having the food, is getting first hands on with these products. That's for them. But for a lot of the people that are less in the hobby end of doing this business and more in the
We're not
doing it full time.
Yeah, we're not vloggers.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be like, here's our travel vlog, and we can't make, we can't even go there and release like a video about the event. It's all under NDA.
Yeah,
Or it's meant to be. So it's just a complete waste of time.
So yeah,
Let us know if there's anything you guys do want us to talk about or discuss. Just drop that in the comments, and hopefully we'll see
so
it.
it's. I still think that they will run those events for the many people out there who are in it for the other reasons or need to be educated or need to get interviews or do all that stuff. That's all. There is a point to doing them for those people, but I think companies just need to be accommodating of people that would rather just do the testing. They just want to talk about their products, and especially for places that I guess have a reputation of doing stuff properly. Like, I would hope that for us, that these companies are thinking that we're testing things properly, and for people like Gamers Nexus is another example of like if there's anyone that you should be trusting to sort of do stuff properly and test things fairly and everything, it would be those sort of people. So
they're really concerned that media outlets are going to test 32 core Threadripper in games, and that will be the focus of their content, which is just dumb. And we didn't do that with the 1950X, so we're certainly not going to do it with Threadripper 2. Jonathan says, I bet most of us would jump at the opportunity to sit through that. It sounds exciting, but once you get 1 hour into watching something that you already know, the second and third hour get pretty boring.
And often it's an hour where the actual content is like 10 minutes worth.
But if we were small, forget TechSpot, forget any past experience in the industry, if we just started a YouTube channel and we were pretty small and we're excited about getting our first sample or whatever, and we got invited to something like this, we'd be over the moon.
Yeah.
We'd probably come back from it going, that was pretty, I don't know if I want to do that again, but you'd be excited to go do it. But now it's just a massive waste of time because, like I said, we can't make content. So there'd be a whole week basically without videos, or there'd be one or two that we might have been able to pre-record. But
so
anyway.
There is Wi-Fi at these events.
There's Wi-Fi.
I spend a lot of time just browsing the internet while I'm sort of sifting through this stuff. But yeah, I think it is difficult to sort of have an event where you're. It's important to go. Like I think if I was a company, like I'm not really sure how I'd have an event where there was a real advantage to attending it outside of just watching PDFs and being given samples. I'm not really sure what you do there. So
you see Sal's question here. Basically, the short answer is no. There's no if we weren't getting a 32 core Threadripper sample, I don't think we would review it.
Yeah,
would we buy one for $1,500 US?
Probably not. Considering our audience.
That's right. If you guys really wanted to see that review and that was what our core audience was after, then we would. But I think I covered this last time. It's like, your Core i3 stuff, your Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5, Core i5, we're all over that. Then the Ryzen 7, Core i7, sure. But anything beyond that, I don't think most of our audience is interested in buying anyway. So it's more of an entertainment thing. How fast is it? What can it do? But we're not even going to be benchmarking 32 core Threadripper in applications that most of our audience is interested in. And there's no point looking at it for gaming because it can't be better than a Ryzen 5 2600X for gaming. It can only be worse. It should be about the same. So we're not going to buy the Intel 28 core if they don't sample it to us. We're just not going to cover it. We might talk about it, but if we don't need to spend $4,000, we don't need to spend $3,000 or even $2,000 on a 28 core Intel CPU to tell you not to buy that. If it's $4,000, there's no point buying it because we're not going to give it a good review.
Yeah.
It's not competitive, so there's no point.
And we're also not really operating in sort of a situation where we only would ever look at our own testing.
Yeah.
For example, if we didn't get a 28 core chip, there's no reason why we can't just mention we've seen the benchmarks and reviews from other sources.
Yeah, so we would rely on Gamers Nexus.
Yeah, and just
Antec,
be like
whoever else.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about getting a ton of flack over not buying Intel's 28-core CPU, because anyone that's giving you a ton of flack over that is just not a reasonable person.
Yeah. Like, I understand where you're coming from in that it might seem a bit dodgy if, like, you had reviewed a 32-core AMD CPU, but you didn't review the Intel 28-core.
Well,
that looks a bit strange because you've tested one company's product. Why haven't you tested the other? But the simple fact is, because it's not a core product for us, and not something that our audience is a core product for the audience either, it's just bad luck. If they're not willing to provide us the stuff and they don't want the testing out there, then that's on them.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to... Well, the thing with 32-core Threadripper is we're going to do our day one coverage. We'll see how that goes, what kind of interest there is. But you're not going to see the kind of stuff you see when Ryzen, second-gen Ryzen came out, where we did, you know, memory testing and this and that and gaming comparisons and comparing with the Intel. We're not going to be doing heaps of 32-core Threadripper coverage. Like, the day one review will be close to being it. Like, we might do one or two other things, but that's it. So it's not really... It's like the 7980XE. We reviewed that day one. I don't think I've used it again since, really.
Yeah,
So-
and I mean, it's not like we won't go out and request a sample from Intel, and we won't try and get our hands on a 28-core Intel CPU. But if none of that stuff comes off,
Yeah.
then it's not like we're going to go out and spend that sort of money. And I think as well, like, for example, if we had $4,000 to spend, I think people would have got a lot more out of us buying a Titan V than buying a 28 core Intel CPU.
If we had $4,000 US right now as a budget to buy computer hardware, there's a lot of really cool stuff we could buy that would make for interesting content that you guys would want to see,
Yeah.
and it would be of interest.
Like, low-end stuff is
Yeah.
not often sampled. Like,
Yeah, that's right. Well,
Companies
we're gonna
are
have
very
to-
willing to
That's
sample
right.
their high-end stuff, and they tend to ignore low-end.
Well, I had to buy all my locked Core i5 samples. I had to buy all of my Core i3 and the Pentium chips. I had to buy all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we didn't get sampled. Nick said, did Intel's PR ask you guys to do a review of this 7980XE? I don't know if he means a recent one like what Brian did at Tech Yes City. We actually reviewed it on launch day. Intel USA, we briefly had
There was a good person there for a few months.
a brief window with them. They sent us the 7980XE and the 7960, and we reviewed those. The video to this day has like 30,000 views, and it's very old now.
Yeah.
There's just no interest in it, really, which I can understand.
So-
It's what, $1,700 US and $2,000 US for a CPU.
So yeah, if you mean the ones where they're more sponsored content, Intel did approach us. They approached me actually. Then they
approached
asked,
him.
They
Maybe that
basically
was
asked.
safer.
This was ages ago too. Like this is around the time of the KB Lake G NUC
Yeah.
when that was coming out. They're like,
So was it 6 months ago or something?
yeah, almost 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And they're basically like, you know, what do you guys do? You know, sponsored content. What's your sort of advertising agreements and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Basically, I just flat out said we don't do sponsored content. Didn't hear much back.
I mean, we've said it in the Discord chat before. We would do a sponsored build. We may be doing a sponsored build soon with PC Case Gear for one of their systems. I don't know if we're going to commit to doing that. It's been pitched. We're sort of working through it. I want to still be able to make the content at least interesting for you guys and
Yeah.
not just, you know, we obviously have to make some money along the lines. We're never, ever, ever going to take money from NVIDIA, AMD, or Intel. Like, it's just not
Yeah.
going to happen. We'll take samples from them, but that's it. So we're never going to run a Ryzen ad or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it's just not
So
happening.
that's just not going to happen. But yeah, we might do something with PC Case Gear in that sense, but we're not going to do any of those Optane or Intel things.
Yeah,
It doesn't make sense for us to do that kind of content.
yeah, and usually when, especially on the sponsored videos in particular, they're always trying to get you to look at their not interesting stuff. So, yeah, but not even just that. I mean, you're saying not taking money. When we say that, we really mean like you won't see advertising. You won't see a pre-roll ad
Yeah.
that features Intel.
Well, Dan says, sponsored by PC Case Gear is fine in my opinion. They don't make hardware. Sort of. It would be one of their pre-built systems. So there is... I kind of get that, you know, they're paying you to check out the system and say good stuff about it, which we wouldn't be doing, mind you. We
don't do reviews. That
No,
are paid.
it
It's
wouldn't
just-
be a review as such. We would just be checking it out, playing games. It'd be more about the hardware that's in it than... Like I said, we're still working the details out on that one. But if it was a overpriced system, we'd be saying it anyway. Wouldn't be like, no, this is a good system, guys. Check it out.
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
just, and you know, as we move into hopefully,
And it will say that
Yeah.
it's sponsored
yeah,
content.
obviously everything that we
Yeah.
says sponsored,
And
but
it won't be like, this is sponsored, guys, and then get straight into it.
yeah, no, it'll be very very
It'll be
obvious.
very clear and obvious.
And that's been the case with our videos that have been sponsored in the past.
Sure, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the live stream build that we did with Gigabyte, for example, was quite clearly.
Yeah, it'll be a similar deal to that.
Yeah. So I think the thing is, like, we do want to have more like in-stream ads in our videos as we continue
Short
to grow Hardware
ones.
Unboxed. Short ones,
Similar
15 to
to
20 seconds.
Similar to Gamers Nexus.
Yeah, exactly in the line of Games Nexus. So,
Yeah.
but we, as far as organizing that with companies that are in our business, like not your Squarespaces or your LastPasses that we've done in the past, but you know, if we wanted to advertise coolers or something, like we want to make it very clear that, you know, if we're advertising a product, that you're not going to see the ad on a video for the product. It's very unlikely we'd even review the products that are being advertised on the channel.
Yeah, that's why the PC case gear thing, it's a bit
Yeah.
work that out, because it is a sponsored video of a sponsored product. So anyway, I don't know, we've got to work that one out.
But yeah, we just want our advertising to be very clear that exactly in the same line as what Gamers Nexus does.
Yeah.
You buy an ad spot, you can advertise your RGB memory or something. We might use the RGB memory in, you know, a build video or a build or something, but we don't really do those sort of reviews anyway. We're not really into doing those sort of cool reviews.
Our core content, for at least that I do, is the CPU, the GPU stuff. I don't really review motherboards or anything like that. We use them, we feature them. It's more product placement, not that we're getting paid for any of that, but if we were, that would be how it's sort of done. So it's CPU, GPU stuff. So AMD, Nvidia, Intel are just off the table.
Yeah, that's our core content, and we just won't take money from those companies.
Yeah.
And I do agree with Sal. If a company places an ad for a specific product, you shouldn't review that product ever in the future. That seems...
Yeah,
I think it's okay to feature a product, to sort of use it in a build or whatever.
Yeah.
Say, for example...
Yeah.
I mean, this is not something that we do anyway.
No,
but like,
no, it's interesting to discuss though, because it helps us going forward to work out.
Yeah,
it's not,
especially what you guys want to see in terms of advertising.
Some of this stuff's obvious, and then some of it's not that clear. So
I just think that like we're not going to have a situation where we review a cooler and then the next day you see an ad for that cooler.
Yeah,
because
that's fair.
First of all, we don't really review coolers, but also it's kind of a bit dodgy. Whereas I think like you might see the cooler in our builds, you might see the cooler being used in our test systems or whatever, which is fine because we need stuff for our test systems and so forth. But simply because our main content is mostly the CPU and GPU stuff, and we don't want to ever mess around with that sort of, you know, sponsored content from those people, that's just not happening.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Simply the stuff that we're thinking of advertising and want to advertise, like your coolers, like your RGB memory, like your cases and that sort of stuff, is not really stuff that we review anyway.
No.
So that's kind of where we sort of want the advertising to be, is sort of the products that we don't review can be advertised, the stuff we do review and forms our main content isn't going to be there.
Yeah, that'll make sense to me. I mean, I don't think about it too much because I know if Corsair, we did a review on something, or any company, I know Cooler Master, whoever, ADATA, whoever. Like there was the ADATA, that was the liquid cooled memory, wasn't it? The Spectrix D80.
Yeah.
Like, even if they were advertising that, you would still see the same review where we're like, this is a gimmick, guys. You're not going to see some really awkward, forced Dyson vacuum cleaner type content where we're like, this memory has liquid in it. It's really good. It cools well. We're still going to test it and just say it's crap. But here's the ad.
And I mean, there might be times, not that this has happened, but there might be times where a company wants to advertise their product because they've seen our review. And there's been times that channels have found out that a company would say, buy Facebook advertising for our video. Or like would buy YouTube ads for our video, so that like,
that's weird.
Because we've given a positive review. And I always think that a company really should give you a heads up if this happens, because it kind of makes it seem like we might have
they don't
paying
know.
to advertise our content. They don't give you a heads up, but that's something that we've seen happen with some videos, is that they will promote our own review. So it does get a bit tricky if, for example, we review a product and then like a week later they're like, we want to advertise your product, because we've already done the review. And it sort of comes into a position where if we advertised in the future, it might have seemed like we signed that ad deal before we did the review.
I know, and it's like if we give a product a good review and then they do what you're saying, they promote it across all their socials and then boost those posts, it looks like there's something dodgy going on there that really isn't. But, I mean, you've just got to look at the sources that you're watching these videos from, and it should be very... Like, it's stupidly obvious when something's paid for. Or
it is very,
it's
very
never
obvious.
subtle. Like, I know there's that thought where you're like, were they getting paid for that, or was that... I don't, you know, when they're getting paid, it's stupidly obvious. Like, we've had companies say to us, you know, we want to have a paid review, and we just straight away say no. But sometimes I've sort of gone, oh yeah, what are the conditions here? And the conditions are always just hilariously bad. Like, you can't mention the competition's product. It can't be compared to a competitor's product. It can only be compared with, like, one of our previous products or whatever. And you guys will have seen the 7980 XE things. You will have seen the Optane. Nearly every Optane video, I reckon, that's done the last 3 months has been paid for. And you'll see there's no mention of AMD. There's no mention of AMD's products. It's so obvious. So obvious. You will not see anything negative said. You will not see their competitors and nothing negative. Not even constructive criticism is allowed.
Yeah.
A paid review is just a marketing exercise.
Yeah, so it's just we always want advertising policies and stuff to be very, very clear and very. If it's sponsored, you'll know.
Yeah, it says that Hardy goes, you'll never kill all a shill accusations. I know I've done a good job on a GPU or a CPU comparison or something when I get called an AMD and an Intel shill in the one video. It's like a rite of passage. You know you've done a good job on that when both sides are upset. And I think if you do a really good job on any of these comparisons, you have the fanboys on both sides upset always. If you've been if you've been as objective as possible, they're both upset. So sorry, what were you going to say?
I just think as well, like for a lot of our stuff, like even for advertising in sort of like 15, 20-second spots, for example, we don't take ads for products that are crap. Like even in the non-CPU and even in the non-tech hardware stuff, like we wouldn't do an ad with LastPass, for example, if LastPass was known to be a terrible product.
Well,
SCD keys, for example.
Stupid.
That's one, and we get so many advertising requests for things like phone cases, like software that's just stupid and crap, and like all these sort of things, like just like online marketplaces.
And those, that's right. Those CD key ones, I got one just the other day. I don't even know if they're genuine or I've got to look into it. But we get those, G2A, we get them all the time. Like all those key sale places, and they're offering us good money. Like a simple ad placement will make good money. Like, and we could easily do it. But I haven't, like I said last time, I haven't done a heap of research, so I don't even like to publicly say they're dodgy because I don't know. But at the same time, I don't see how they can be selling the keys for that price. It's got to be like bulk things, or they're not for resale value, resale stuff. So, or resale, I should say. So yeah, I probably shouldn't say that they're dodgy publicly because I haven't really dug into it and done the research. But it seems fairly self-evident that they probably.
Yeah, but it's the same. Like for example, the ADATA memory, for example, if we didn't review that memory and they were like, do you want to advertise that memory on the channel in an ad? And if we looked at it and we go, wow, why is that liquid cooling tube on it? That seems really stupid. It's very unlikely that we would advertise that on the channel because it's just not a product that we would believe in. You know?
Well, I mean, or a better example would be like a liquid cooling product that we know has a poor reliability record, or when Seagate were having all those hard drives die, we wouldn't then go and advertise them and say, buy these hard drives, they're really good, guys. There's no way we would do that.
So we want to advertise stuff to you guys that is both makes sense for the audience, like you're not getting vacuum cleaner ads on a channel.
Yeah, I said, if Dyson had have approached us and said, we're going to pay you X amount of money, and I'd say, sure, here is our ad package. We run 10 to 15 second ads. These are our prices. And they're like, oh no, we want to do a sponsored video where you use it in your studio. I'm like, no. I'll be doing some benchmarks, and I just pause after Wreckfest and go, oh, I've got some dust here, guys. Now, where were we? We're not going to do that kind of content. But anyway, I'll just catch up on the chat here.
Yeah, so
sorry.
We just want to make sure that, we're advertising stuff that is good and that you guys would be interested in. And I
Yeah.
think, you know,
Yeah, I don't think we need to go on about it too. Yeah, they get it. Did we want to order anything for lunch? Because there's still quite a few guys watching. So I mean,
all right.
do you guys want us to keep answering questions, talking crap? Because we can. We've got plenty of time today. I got here early. I haven't got a migraine. I don't feel
and
sick.
last time we spent a lot of time just bumming around doing nothing. So
yeah, no, we
I'll
got still
order in
got plenty of
pizza or
things we can
something.
talk about. So if you guys want us to keep going, we can. Because last time we stopped for lunch because I felt like I was going to die and I was really hungry. I had a massive headache for like 6 hours after the live stream last time. But I went to bed nice and early last night. I got woken up 2 hours earlier than I wanted to by one of my daughters, but I went to bed early, so that was all fine. So yeah, thanks, Sal. Glad I'm not ill as well. It's much better. Last time was a struggle. Yes, last time. I didn't feel like I was going to spew. I just felt like there was a sledgehammer in my head trying to get out. So yeah, it was unpleasant. How's the Lego going? How's the new Falcon? Have you started that?
no.
You're going to do some behind the scenes, aren't you? Some live
Yes,
streaming on
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's because it's quite big. It's like quite a task to start making it. Yeah, still got a few other sets in there to be built as well. I've actually got the bucket wheel excavator as well, which is a massive Technic set.
You keep talking about your Lego. I'm just going to quickly visit the toilet.
All right, so
We're going to build you a new desk as well.
yeah, I've got to get this desk fixed. Yeah, so the Lego stuff, yeah, there's a lot of obviously new sets and stuff that I keep adding to the background and stuff that you were seeing, like the snow speeder and all that. So yeah, keep building stuff, but the Millennium Falcon, that'll be well in the future at some point when I can get around to sort of starting that. But the Lego collection is much bigger than what you see in this set. There's a shelf just off over the side here. I've got a lot of other stuff, and I've got so much stuff in storage as well. In fact, I could probably tell you exactly, because I've catalogued everything that I own, so I can tell you exactly how much I have, which is quite a lot. Quite a lot. It's a lot of fun to build though. So I own 165 sets in total. A lot of that, some of that was from when I was a kid that I've kept from then. Most of that's new stuff though, but I do own, I can give you the exact brick count, 94,441 bricks exactly, plus spares. So that is the total amount of Lego that I have somewhere. So do I have enough blocks to do the case? Yeah, I have plenty of blocks and bricks to build that. If I was doing a case, I probably would still order the parts just so that it can be its own project, but just to like mess around and stuff, I have plenty of bricks. But yeah, I think even if you're not that into Lego, I think if you're a fan of some of the franchises that Lego makes products for, like Star Wars, they've got a new Voltron set out, for example. If you were a fan of that as a kid, even just getting 1 or 2 sets, it's a lot of fun to build them, like the Saturn rocket and all that. It's all good. So yeah, it's fun.
Yep. Oh, you talk about the computer case as well?
Yeah.
So
In a minute, now I'm going to get back to ordering a pizza.
Yeah, find out. Get on the pizza. I'm starting to get a bit hungry.
Yeah.
But what else have we got here we can talk about? I'm testing. I want to do some Throwback Thursdays, so I'm doing the Core i7 980X. That's quite interesting, that chip. I don't think I actually ever checked those 6-core processors out when they were released by Intel back in 2010 or whenever it was. So yeah, that's been a bit of fun to play around with. Bit interesting. A few funny results there. So I think, well, actually, I can go over the schedule while you're doing that. Let me bring that up.
What sort of pizza do you feel like? What sort of stuff do you like on a pizza?
Oh, I don't care.
Oh, come on.
I'm happy with anything. Meat lovers.
Meat lovers? Do you like the meat lovers?
Sure. What do the guys in the chat recommend on the pizza front?
Yeah.
You should do a Throwback Thursday using modern parts of very old games. Yeah, that's kind of a cool idea. I have thought about doing that before, so yeah, might do
Mix
that.
the pizza.
Definitely meat lovers. We got a few votes for the meat lovers. So
I usually go for like the lot style pizza.
yeah, I don't mind
So
that
the lot
either.
maybe meat lovers.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right. Meat deluxe, bacon, beef chorizo, hot salami, and smoked ham. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And the Bubba Deluxe from this place has lots of stuff on it. Lots
And
and
so
lots
they're
of stuff.
you can order at this time of day and they'll deliver.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
They're open.
Too easy.
Sometimes when you're ordering pizza at midday
Yep.
and trying to get it delivered, it's a bit more difficult.
Oh.
So I reckon do you want 2 large pizzas of garlic bread and a soft drink, or
Sounds
just
good.
two pizzas?
Nah, whatever. Sounds fine to me. It's on the patrons anyway. They're paying for this.
Yeah, that's right. Look, 2 family or 2 large? I'll go two family, I reckon. Don't need the garlic bread.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Oh, do
that's
you want
fine.
garlic bread?
No, I don't
All
care.
right.
I don't care. So tomorrow we have News Corner. Tim will actually be doing News Corner this week unless he gets violently ill from the pizza. Then I'll have to step in last minute. Then we've got unboxing boxes, hopefully on Saturday. They take ages to edit because they're quite long. But anyway, I'm hoping to get that out on Saturday. That'll be sort of the B450 edition. I'll unbox whatever B450 boards I've got. I've already got 3, so hopefully I'll have a few more, but if not, no biggie. Then we'll have our Q&A part 1 and part 2 on Sunday and Monday. So if you have any questions that you want answered in that, we'll do that. And then Tim has a review on the Razer Blade 2018 edition,
That's right.
Tuesday.
Got to finish the testing on that one.
Get to it. You've got plenty of work to do. And then you're doing a top 5 laptops for college students. Because that's
Yeah,
been heavily requested.
Yeah, it gets requested a lot.
Heavily requested.
Going to be talking about what you should buy as a student.
I
And making sure, because the one thing that annoys me so much with back to school stuff is you go on a website like The Verge. I'm going to call them out because they do this all the time.
You've been put on notice, Verge.
You go on there, they've got a back to school article, and the stuff they recommend is thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, okay.
Where they're like, back to school, what you should be getting is like a PS4 Pro, and like you should be buying a $5,000 MacBook. And it's like, unless you're super rich, no student is able to afford like a $5,000 laptop.
I shouldn't say it, but I wonder if
Like-
that is sponsored content.
People do, well, it might be,
Right.
but people do have, some people are able to afford those things. But as someone that was recently in uni, going around and looking at what people actually use, it is very rarely like super, super expensive stuff. It's like your budget, not necessarily super budget, but more your mid-range products are very common.
Yep.
So that sort of stuff is more up what I'm interested in.
Sal said, is News Corner filmed already? I can answer that one. No.
News
Tim
Corner is
does
filmed
it
on the day.
Yeah.
So
if
it's
you-
about a 6-hour turnaround from when it's start to when it's out.
So if you want something featured in that, get it in the...
Yeah.
We should make a... Oh, we've got a news.
I don't even
Discord.
script it before that day.
No, there's no
nothing
point.
is done on it before.
You've got to
the
get
day.
all the fresh rumours.
Yeah.
Put off the
fresh
mill.
rumors.
What do we got here? Nick says you guys need a den of editors like Linus. Not really, because, I don't know, I've thought about it. You've got some local birds. I thought about it, but getting someone to edit our content would be really difficult. Like Linus's content, it makes sense, because I don't know, but I imagine Linus has his scripts and everything written for him these days. He just walks in, reads off the teleprompter, does his Linus thing, which is good. It's Linus. And then he walks away and they take care of the rest. But with our videos being a little more technical, let's say, you really have to put the appropriate B-roll in the appropriate sections and the graphs and all that information. It's not that easy to do. So you need an editor that's like super tech savvy and knows exactly the format and what you want to do. So to get the person that would be capable of that and then train them to do it exactly how you like it, I think would be... And not to mention, you'd have to pay an editor a proper wage in Australia. Not saying you don't in the US or Canada, but it's expensive to hire people in Australia.
It's very expensive.
Extremely expensive, and we're nowhere near making that kind of money. We'd need to do a lot of sponsored content. A lot of those
a lot of vacuum
7980XE and vacuum cleaner content. So, yeah, it's just... I mean, what would you have to pay someone as an editor in Australia? More than we're making.
Yeah, probably.
So,
like, we're not super poor or anything, but we're not in a position to be hiring more people at the moment.
No.
I mean, and I guess as well, as far as the editing stuff is concerned, like, our videos, honestly, like, unless they're a really big, long benchmark video, they don't take that long to edit.
Well, we're not adding sound effects and
we're
bits
not,
and pieces like
we're not
that.
sitting there spending a week editing a video. We're spending like half a day editing a video.
The 20-minute benchmark videos and unboxing boxes, they take me a full day, like from... And then if you got to do B-roll, then that adds another half day onto it.
Yeah,
but
so,
for a 10-minute video.
Yeah, so I spent yesterday. I edited 2 videos start to finish yesterday. The ones from yesterday and today, and I had time left over after doing that. So it's as much as like we would rather be spending that time doing testing rather than editing, because editing's not one of the exciting parts of the job. It's not like it's taking up like all of our time.
No, I mean, if we had a full-time editor who was really skilled and really good, then the production of the videos could be better, and there could be a few more things added there to make them a little more interesting. But
I think a lot of the stuff that we want to convey in the videos is already conveyed. Like you can always improve your production values. You can always make things. We could be using a $50,000 Red camera, and our videos would look freaking awesome.
Yeah,
but
no, they'd look that much better.
Yeah, well, you're right. But
they'd cost that much more.
Yeah,
but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, Ib Slice is late. We're just about to wrap it up, mate.
Oh, they
see you guys later.
They cancelled our pizza order.
What?
I know.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Well, we're currently still starving, so... No, we're not ending the stream yet. We're still just talking nonsense.
Freaking pizza places?
Jardeth goes, you just stick it in Adobe Premiere and export it, right? You're too funny.
Alright, well, I guess I'm going to have to order pizza from a different pizza place.
Give them a negative review.
Yeah, that's right. If you're online and you're accepting orders, then
yeah, it's weird.
If you're not open, then just say you're not open.
Hub Extras, you missed the second part of my News Corner question. Oh no, what have we done? Because I think you should announce Microsoft Summer Sale. 700 games on sale, 40% off Life Gold 2, whatever that is.
You need that to play online on an Xbox.
What's an Xbox?
Yeah, I know.
I have more questions.
Do people buy Xboxes? I thought they.
I thought people know we must have.
I thought Ubisoft this month just announced that actually sold more games on PC than Xbox in the last like.
Oh wow, jeez. Yeah, he said
Xbox
worth letting
tanking.
people know. We may all be PC enthusiasts, but loads of us still have Xbox. So, okay. Live Gold, lol. Tons of people have Xboxes. As usual, Sal, I will take your word for that. Nah, I know. I just like being PC Master Race snob. You get them at supermarkets, right? Too funny. You guys. Well, Tim's delaying us a bit here with our second go at getting a pizza delivered.
All right. Second place. If this place also denies our order, then I'm afraid we're going to have to go and actually get food somewhere.
I'll just sit here and just chat to the camera while you go get a pizza. We can prolong it.
Okay.
I reckon for the next generation consoles, it might be worth us investing in them, though, to do some sort of crossover content. And
yeah, I mean, I'd probably buy at least the PlayStation 1 anyway.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to do like image quality comparisons with the games when they come out, because we still want to do a lot more content that we're not doing.
The ideas list is super long.
Well, Battlefield 5 will definitely have to start on that, where you do all your image quality testing stuff.
Yeah, I'll be starting that on at least like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which comes out before Battlefield 5.
Oh, we'll have heaps of content on that then.
If not, a game that comes out earlier than that.
Yeah. Well, we can try it anyway and see what the guys think of it. Oh, well, make sure you put that idea in the news section, Sal, and Tim will check it out tomorrow morning.
Well, that place has confirmed our order.
They've taken your money?
Yeah.
They haven't denied it, saying, keep your money, you shill?
Yeah.
Cool. Alright.
This time we're getting a garlic bread and a drink, though, because they're different deals.
Nice. Jared says, yeah, I'm at work. We know you don't work, Jared. We know you don't work. There's no way you can work. He's always available. He's available more than I am in our Discord chat. We should just pay Jared to be like a Harbour Unboxed member and answer questions and address problems. Well, we don't have to pay him. He's in there anyway, so I shouldn't have said that.
No.
Forget that. Cut that last. Quick. Cut the stream. Rumour has it Microsoft will be allowing Windows 10 to run on Xbox games.
Well, already does. pretty much every Xbox
Yeah,
release
that's
is like
true.
Sea of
I
Thieves,
don't
Gears
use.
of War.
I don't benchmark anything in that's Windows Store.
Well, the
exclusive.
Windows Store is by far the worst store.
So bad.
I don't know how anyone could come up with the opinion that Microsoft Store is better than Steam, and I have seen that opinion online on Twitter from Microsoft fanboys that are like, I would rather use the Microsoft Store than buy it through Steam. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me.
That's painful.
The Microsoft Store is complete garbage. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Even a service like Origin, which is pretty bad, is not even close to being as bad as the Windows Store.
Yeah, Origin's the worst out of the big three. Then Uplay,
Yeah.
then Steam. Steam's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah,
I've
Steam's got a
nothing-
lot of really good features.
If Steam was the only one of, out there, the gaming platform, then you could probably bitch about it. But with what the alternatives are, Steam is amazing. Sal says, I'm going to arrange for loads of spicy peppers to get delivered to you for Harbour Unboxed one of these days.
Oh, God.
Well, that'd be painful because I am extremely weak when it comes to spicy anything. So, yeah, that would there'd be a lot of crying in that episode. I don't know how that'd go. Which is weird because my dad can just like eat the hottest chilies, just bang them down, use just like they're candy.
Yeah, not for me,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
the smell of them makes me want to cry. Microsoft Store has a couple of key advantages though.
If you have Game Pass, you never have to pay for anything, and
But
play
Origin
anywhere.
Origin does that sort of stuff, don't they?
yeah, I mean, it's nice to have Game Pass so you can play Microsoft games because it's first-party games
Yeah.
that are included. But the thing is, that doesn't make the Microsoft Store any worse.
No, it's terrible. Well,
And the advantage of Play Anywhere is also, I guess, okay, but that's only if you have an Xbox. Like, if you don't have an Xbox, then that is not an advantage at all.
has anyone worked out, because I haven't used the Microsoft Store, so my opinion is based on like over a year ago was the last time I bothered dealing with that tragic gaming platform or just platform in general. Is there a way to easily back up and move
No.
your...
No.
Because I was testing with Gears of War. That's like 100 gig or something, that game now. And every time I installed a test system and wanted to install Gears of War, it was like 2 days of downloading back when I had ADSL. It'd be like a day now, or half a day on
Yeah, it's pretty
my
bad.
wireless NBN. So just that fact alone, I can't use it for testing games because it's just not practical. So
Yeah, and it's just,
I can't download hundreds of gigs of game every time.
like, you can buy games and you can play them from the store. It's not like it doesn't work, but there's a lot of features that the other platforms have that the Microsoft Store still doesn't have. Just like basic quality of life stuff. Like even choosing where to install a game. Like if you choose to install like on your SSD or on your main drive, even that is not very good on the Microsoft Store. Like on Steam, it's so straightforward. You can move games super easily on Steam.
Well, if you break where the game's installed, though, like you have to re-download it, don't you?
Yeah. And I've had problems where like I've downloaded a game onto an external drive, and then the Microsoft stores thinks that it's been broken, but hasn't been able to repair it. But it won't let you re-download it either because it still thinks it's installed. And even when you delete it, it still thinks it's there and broken. It's the worst piece of shit ever. It's terrible.
I'll accept that. It definitely is.
So yeah, if you have Play Anywhere, sure, that's neat if you have an Xbox. If you want to play first-party titles, sure. But I don't see any reason why you should buy like Assassin's Creed Origins on the Microsoft Store as a PC gamer.
No.
Like even having to do with Uplay is just worlds better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Uplay's okay. It's fine. Or Origin is okay. I mean, I get a lot of problems with like launching games and getting them to work. Like Star Wars Battlefront 2 sometimes
Yeah.
just won't launch. I don't know why.
I've had a few of those problems.
And then you like launch it the next day, no dramas, without changing anything. So it's definitely something to do with them. So Origin is annoying. The fact that you can't log in on another computer, like if I have it on my test system, my personal PC, I have to make sure they're logged out. I have to do your password and username again. And there's something worse than all of that. I can't remember what it is now.
Backing up games on Origin is quite crap. You have to download it, then pause it, then copy it in.
Yes,
and
that's
then
annoying.
re-click to download
It's
it.
annoying, but compared to Windows Store, it's a breeze. The thing for me personally that sucks, and it'll be the same for you, is the 5 hardware changes. That's probably not that bad for you with laptops.
Yeah.
But see, Battlefield 5 is going to be a costly exercise because I'm going to want to get that content out as soon as possible. I'm going to have to buy like 6 copies of the game.
EA will hopefully provide us with a few.
Yeah.
But
2's not going to help. But yeah, anyway. because I'll test at least 30 graphics cards.
Yep.
So it's like 6 copies I'll need.
Apparently, sometimes you can call up the support service to get your limit removed.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one.
I heard someone was able to do it.
$100 reward for anyone that can get my account maxed out. That would be amazing. Because I often wonder how like Game GPU and these guys get their coverage out with 50 GPUs so fast. I'm like, how many copies did you get of that game?
Yep.
Because if I do all the GPUs and all the CPUs, I'd need like over a dozen copies of the game.
Which is so dumb.
Yep. So the pizza definitely went through?
Well, I've got the notification saying that the pizza's coming.
We're just waiting for the doorbell to ring. I'll be so disappointed if it's some sort of high-end review sample. I'll be like, where is the pizza?
Well, my PG27UQ is apparently in the post, so that could also be coming.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, apparently the last time it was just rejected straight up. This time I've got a notice saying it's been accepted, so we'll see.
Cool. Very good. What else are we... Yeah, I don't know if the subscriptions for Origin Prime would work. Premiere, I don't know. Something to look into. I've got to work out some kind of plan for testing Battlefront. Why did I say Battlefront?
Battlefield, yeah.
5.
Battlefield.
Anyway, so that's something to look into. Yeah, I'm keen to test that game, but that's not till October.
I believe so.
I think October 11th, maybe the early access, something like that. I don't really need to worry about that at this point. Though we could have some new NVIDIA GPUs to benchmark with it, so that would be pretty cool.
October 19 is the final release, I think.
Okay.
According to Google?
Yeah, so I think the early access starts on the 11th. I don't know, I've got that date in my head, so... Chris just said, damn it, finally got out of a meeting. Start again, please. Okay, welcome to...
You're welcome to go back and watch the rest of it once we're finished here, though.
Yep. So we've talked about new GPUs and stuff. I can't even remember. Lots of things.
I never go around talking about the monitor testing.
Go for it.
So that's happening. We have finally got...
You should have got your little...
Yeah. We finally got ways to test response time and input lag.
Actually, keep talking. I'm going to go get the mouse.
I'm going to
Still
go
in
get
your
the
office?
mouse. Yeah. So one of the things a lot of people have been asking for with the display testing obviously has been testing the actual response time of the pixels and testing the input lag and processing time. So we finally got that rolling. That's going out and actually will be in our next monitor review. We'll be rolling that stuff out. Basically with the response time testing, we're basically just using a photodiode that slap right on the screen with an oscilloscope. We just measure the rise time and so forth, and the fall time on the other end for black to white stuff. And yeah, basically we've just been testing that, making sure that it's validated against other typical results we've seen from monitors that have done that sort of testing. So that's all going really well on the response time stuff. We'll be testing multiple things like not just your white to black to white, but various gray to grays and so forth, and giving you all averages and all that. So the Leo Bodnar tool, I don't like it, and the reason for that is that so the Leo Bodnar 2 is an input lag testing tool, but the problem is that it only works at 1080p and only works through HDMI. So for a lot of monitors that use G-Sync or FreeSync, specifically G-Sync, you can't test the input lag using that tool through the G-Sync module. So that's one of the main problems. And as well, for monitors running at 1440p as well, you cannot use that tool to test the stuff. So this is the sensor. It is a Thorlabs sensor. Probably do a behind the scenes video showing that off a bit better, but that's basically the sensor. And then for input lag, I've got this...
you guys will have seen this in unbagging bags at Computex.
Yeah, so this is a GAMDS mouse that I've modified with a BNC connector on it, so you can plug it into an oscilloscope. And basically this mouse now, whenever I click or register a click, it does actually go through to the oscilloscope. So basically we can line up the time between an oscilloscope registering the click, which is the actual input to your system, and when the change happens on the monitor. And so I've been doing a bit of testing to see how many times you need to do it to get a consistent result. And obviously with this system, it does include the processing time on the computer end and the input lag of the mouse, but I've been validating it against results that people have got using different sort of testing tools to measure the exact input lag. So we'll sort of have the physical results that we get, and then the normalized results that will sort of show the input lag. But really it doesn't matter, because as long as you're testing monitor to monitor in the exact same testing methodology, you can see the difference in processing time.
Yeah, that's right.
So it really doesn't matter whether we're reporting the exact processing time or the processing time for the system. As long as we test it the same way, you'll get the results. And I've already tested a bunch of monitors, and this method does give a different results depending on the sort of things that we have. So basically that's what we'll be doing there.
And I was actually going through the schedule. The first video with that testing will be in less than 2 weeks, week and a half.
We have a new Viotech monitor to test out. You guys been...
We're going to do a behind the scenes on that later, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right.
I brought my crowbar.
Got to unbox it using a crowbar, but a lot of you guys have been asking about the really budget stuff, specifically Viotech, because Viotech is very popular in the US through Amazon. It's one of the most popular budget brands. They reached out. They're like, do you want to test our stuff? I was like, absolutely. So we've got one of their monitors sent out, and we'll be doing the response time stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Also got the PG27UQ, which is the G-Sync 4K 144Hz HDR monitor. HDR testing won't happen for a while, and there's a few reasons for that. Firstly, speaking to a lot of people in the industry that do the testing, the tools and stuff to do it simply aren't really there yet. Like, testing SDR stuff has been around for so long that all the tools and stuff are really good.
I don't think it matters.
And
it's just not there yet.
Yeah, especially for people doing gaming and, that sort of stuff activates a separate mode, and the monitor runs an SDR for your desktop stuff anyway. And really it's only for creative professionals that need the color results, because if you're running Photoshop or whatever, the monitor just runs an SDR anyway.
Yep.
So, I'm looking into doing HDR testing, but I don't want to do it poorly. I want to make sure that when we do HDR testing that it's good.
Yep.
So the only testing that we'll be doing is basically the brightness type stuff to see how the brightness and contrast goes, and maybe gamut, but that's it. So we'll be looking into that more over time, but the testing tools, they're just not really there. And for TVs it's okay, but for monitors, they're a bit different in how they operate. So people who do this stuff in the industry are telling me that the tools aren't there, so I'm taking their word for it.
Fair enough. That's kind of the point. Sal says, Tim, how can you do good HDR testing when there's no HDR displays?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the 4K 144Hz one will probably be the best monitor available, considering it has a lot of the features that the TV has.
Yeah, it's a bit early at this point.
There's also a lot of misconceptions about what you should be looking for with HDR. Like, a lot of people say you need 10,000 nits, you need 1,000 nits, as being like, you need that. It needs to do the full screen at 10,000 nits. It's like, if you sat in front of a TV that showed you a full white screen at 10,000 nits, you'd be having a bad time. So, having a really bad
Your retinas are going to have a bad time.
So, the reason why TVs produce higher brightness than monitors is because a TV operates in a different environment. People sit further away, and then typically in brighter, like for example, a TV, if you want to watch an HDR TV in a sunny room, you're going to need your TV to push out like thousands of nits to get that experience to be good. So speaking to people in the industry who are testing HDR monitors, it's very difficult to test the difference to notice the difference from a human eye between 600 nits and 1,000 nits from a standard viewing distance in standard like office conditions. So when people are sort of saying like, oh my God, this monitor doesn't have 1,000 nits, it doesn't actually matter, because the difference between 600 and 1,000 sounds large, but in terms of your visual perception and the way the eye works, it's not nearly as large as you might think. Local dimming is very important. That's the feature you should be looking out for, because that gives you the dark zones in the dark areas and the really bright zones. So if an HDR monitor doesn't have that, then it'll probably be pretty bad. But as far as the brightness thing, 600 nits for a monitor in standard viewing conditions should be fine, so long as you have local dimming. And that's the sort of word that's coming out. So, for example, if you buy a TV off the shelf, and it does 4,000 nits or something, and you run it at 1,000 nits, you'll find it very difficult to tell the difference between the two.
Okay.
Because your eyes are not really like a linear scale. They sort of, as it gets brighter and brighter, they become less effective.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
as far as monitors go, that's one thing that in our HDR content that we really have to tell people, because there's a lot of people that go, wow, this monitor doesn't do 1,000 nits full white brightness, when that's not required for HDR content at all. And the reason for that as well, for you not needing the full brightness, is because most content will not show you a full white screen. Like, when have you ever been playing a game and had the entire screen fully white? Like, it just...
Maybe a second with a flashbang.
Maybe.
So, yeah.
So it's so uncommon for that.
Yeah.
The small windows make more sense. So, again, I've been speaking to people who do this stuff for, Hollywood studios and that sort of thing, who provide testing equipment and calibration for people that make movies and all that sort of thing, to make sure that when we do HDR testing, it's done properly. And apart from learning all about the misconceptions and stuff and all that sort of thing, they are of the opinion that the tools just aren't there.
Okay.
So that probably leaves that there, but...
Yeah, well, I'm really interested to see the first videos with all the testing you're going to be adding, so that'll be good. Very good.
And I haven't found yet a monitor that's rated at 1 millisecond that does any transition at 1 millisecond.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's interesting. They usually will do it in like 1.4, so they're, for like a really small graded grade. Anyway.
I mean, that's fast anyway, so...
Yeah. I'm interested. I think MSI has a 0.5 millisecond claim on their very latest monitor.
That was funny when you had that discussion. Yeah, Jeremy said, I'm going to have to find out how accurate that is, because...
yeah, he's really... Yeah, the MSI guy at Computex, he was really proud of it. He was like, oh, it's 0.5 milliseconds. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to test that, because I straight up don't believe that.
Yeah, he was...
Because one things you can do with a monitor is you can get really fast transition times by upping your overdrive. So, in monitors, they have overdrive features so that you can ramp it up as fast as you possibly can. But the issue that has is, as you start ramping it up as tight as you can, you get overshoot, which creates like positive or negative ghosting on the screen.
Oh, okay.
So like the transition is really fast, but it's either like going past the color that you want, or it's shooting under the color that you want. So, and that is what you see in a monitor when it ghosts, is the transitions being too fast. And yeah, an OLED obviously has basically no transition time. OLEDs, again, they have a lot of problems though. So, a lot of problems with OLEDs, unfortunately, which makes them unsuitable for monitors, but that's just life.
Yeah, I'm going to buy a new TV at the end of the year, so...
Go OLED for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go all out.
Right.
I wish they made them larger than, I think it's... Is it 65 inch for OLEDs?
I think, yeah.
Is the maximum?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, micro LED will be the future.
Okay.
Better than OLED there. But that's still a while off. OLED's a good intermediary technology, though. It's good for phones as well, like the old OLED screens on phones. You got one there.
Yep, it's not bad. Deep
blacks. I just think plasma was killed too soon. Like, I know plasma sucks down the power like nothing else, and it's got a lot of problems, but plasmas are better than LCD technology.
Yeah, well...
Some people don't like it.
Oh, I don't really have much of an opinion, to be honest with you, but the power consumption was a bit of a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, as Nick says, micro LED is basically... Like, I haven't really looked into the technology all that much, but yeah, basically, micro LED is like an evolution of... It's trying to combine like the advantages of LCDs and OLEDs, so that, OLEDs, for example, have burn-in over time. The organic diodes degrade because they're organic.
Mm-hmm.
So you get those issues there. OLEDs suck a lot of power to display white images, which is why they're not suitable for laptops, for example. And yeah, basically, micro LED is basically trying to implement those sort of features, like really deep blacks that you get with OLEDs, and bring that to sort of more LCD type features, like lack of burn-in, better power consumption, all that sort of thing. So for a TV, undoubtedly the best you'll get is an OLED right now, but for monitors and other things, especially because a lot of OLEDs use weird pixel structures that sort of, if you're looking really close at text and things, it's a bit weird.
Okay.
So that's one of the other problems for using it as a monitor. So Yeah. Basically that.
Very good. Well, we've been going for an hour and a half, which is pretty good. We still haven't got a pizza.
Yeah, well, they usually take like 45 minutes or something.
Oh, damn. What else have we got going on? So, yeah, I've got that Core i7 throwback for this time next week. Actually, we've got a cool video going out today. Well, it's pretty cool. GPU pricing update. So, Tim did one of those a little while ago. So, you've just done a full breakdown of all the GPU prices. So...
Yeah, that'll be good.
If you're looking at buying...
ZZR Hardy asks, is a Trinitron any good? Remember those back in the day?
Yeah. That was...
CRTs.
Yeah.
Actually, as far as CRTs go, those were some of the best. And CRTs, no input lag.
But who made those?
Sony, wasn't it?
I was going to say Sony.
Or Trinitron or something.
Wasn't it like Mitsubishi or something like that, was it?
No, I think it was Sony.
So I think it was as well. I would have guessed Sony.
Yeah. Like CRTs, as many issues as CRTs have, which is many, yeah, they did have very good input lag.
Yeah,
so,
it was Sony.
And basically their transition times are very good, so.
Yeah. No, I think I might have even had one of them once upon a time. I'll give you a 21-inch.
Jeez, how much would that shipping be?
Oh, from the US for that?
I could probably buy a GTX 1080 Ti for the amount that
reckon
shipping
it would
cost.
be $300. Well, in US dollars, but probably $300 to $500, something insane like that. I think when we sent the PC to the US, it cost Thermaltake about $400 Australian.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Especially because shipping from Australia to overseas is often more than shipping the reverse.
Yeah, so it might be cheaper sending it
Might
from
be
the
a bit
US.
cheaper the other way, but
in any case, don't do it, please. I don't really have room for it. That's 3 ATX cases I'd have to get rid of.
Yep.
It's only about 30 kilos. Yeah, no kidding.
3D, there's enough content now. Why did they ditch it?
I just don't think it was very good.
No, it's not very good. Yeah. I've seen plenty of 3D movies, and every time I've come out thought that it was probably better watching in 2D.
Yeah, I've been of that opinion. So
I think the problem with
except for Throwback Thursday,
the problem with a lot of stuff, as far as like trying to represent like films content or whatever, is you're trying to represent how like a human eye works, and you're trying to like set up all that stuff. And with 3D, you're sort of introducing an opportunity for the eye to focus on things like it does in real life. But because of the way 3D is filmed, you can't just like focus on a close like an object in the background, because it's blurred out, because that's the way it's filmed.
Yep.
So you have to make sure that your eye's always watching the thing that's in focus, otherwise it's just terrible.
Yeah, that's right. I found it, I don't know,
it's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
just weird.
Because in real life, like if I want to look at the camera or something, or look at the background, I can just instantly change.
Yeah, I think that's probably what makes people sick. It's just really off-putting.
Whereas I guess with 2D, it's kind of like you're just fooled because you don't see the depth. Your eyes are just immediately fooled into not being able to focus on things in the background.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I don't really think that'll take on until they find out some better way to do it. The 3D effect on the 3DS, yeah, games can do it a bit better. But again, I'd rather run my games at double the frame rate than run it at half the frame rate, which is required for 3D. So
that's true. That is very true. I want to do a video summarizing my past year with Threadripper. I've only been using it probably for about 6 months now full time, but I've been using it for a year when I was doing the sort of crossover with my Core i7-6950X. But yes, hopefully I'll get that done before the second gen Threadripper CPUs come out. So 1 year with Threadripper. You did a 1 year with Ryzen, didn't you?
I did, yeah, that's right. But you've been more using Threadripper than I have.
Well, I'm using it every single day, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did what I think Jared mentioned. He did this as well. I had 64 gig of RAM in my editing rig, and I've gone down to 32 gig now because it's just I can definitely notice the difference between running the memory at 2666 and 3200.
Yep.
So especially because I started to play a bit of playing more games on it now than I was. Gaming on Threadripper is actually pretty good now. No real issues, no problems.
Woolworth shill. Yeah, so I don't even drink sparkling mineral water. This is just regular water. I hate sparkling mineral water. It tastes terrible. Water. This is regular tap water.
Well, you chose wisely because I've run out.
Yeah.
I got a glass of water and Tim's like, I'm not going to run out. I'm getting a bottle. Okay.
Woolworths is my local supermarket, but I actually prefer Coles. So if I had a Coles, I would go there.
Stop coal shilling. They're not paying
Or
you.
Aldi. Quite like Aldi as well. Those are our big three supermarkets. Do you have an Aldi near you?
Yeah. Like, it's as near as any other shopping centre.
Okay.
It's about 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
Steve, are you buying TR2 for your editing rig? Yes. Well, yeah. That's the plan. I don't know when we'll be able to do it because we obviously want the 30. It's the 32 core or go home basically for that kind of thing. We would like to do a dual 32 core live stream build here. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I would definitely like to upgrade. I want to use the MSI creation board. Hopefully we can get 2 of those. MSI are getting me one of those boards, but again, we're going to do something with it, and then it's got to be cycled through the rest of the meter, and then it's coming back to us. I know. What can you do?
Yeah, but budgets for Australia are tight.
They suck. It really sucks.
I think it makes sense for a small market, but
yeah.
the way it is.
Oh, it's the way it's always been. So
I'm hoping that as Hardware Unboxed gets bigger and bigger, that companies will allocate more budget to this region simply because we're in it.
Well, some already
because
do.
we're viewed globally, right? Like
I know. It's stupid because 30% of our 1.7 million views that we're going to do this month are from the US. 5% are from Australia.
yeah,
Which,
exactly.
if you're an Australian watching and you get frustrated that we don't do things in Australian pricing a lot of the time, unfortunately, that is the reason why.
Yeah, it makes more sense for us to do it in European pricing, like euros, because again,
More
we
of
get
our
about
audience is there.
23% of our audience is from Europe.
Yeah.
So
Australia is about our 6th
largest single country.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I mean that's the thing. At least I'm hoping that as we get bigger and as our audience grows internationally as well, that companies will have to sort of deal with us more, I guess, which might increase budgets or help us out with samples. But you never know.
Yeah,
But a lot of the companies we're already working with, sometimes they're international teams. So, but for others, especially the larger ones, they have their regional guys that we have to go for.
Yep. So anyway, yeah, definitely want to do a second gen Threadripper editing rig. It probably won't happen. It'll probably be like what I did with the 1950X. I'll get it, do the testing, because the 1950X, we lost that as well, and then got a sample back like 2 months later. So anyway, I would like to do that though, because let's be honest, there's going to be nothing better than a 32 core Threadripper CPU. So
For that sort of task, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's debatable whether, like, you know, an 8700K overclock to 5 gigahertz is that'd be better for the editing tasks.
Might be better for gaming.
Definitely better for gaming, but not so good for the. Actually, if you do a lot of warp stabilization, the Threadripper CPU is miles better than the 8700K, and no one has done those benchmarks. So I will be adding it to. Because I don't know how familiar you guys are with Premiere and editing and that, but you know those smooth panning shots we like to do and all that sort of stuff. I do that on Electric Slider. But even though it is all, you know, I'm using an electric tool there, occasionally you get a slight jitter or a slight wobble. It happens, gravity. So we apply a warp stabilizer effect and it smooths it all out unbelievably well. But applying that to like 30 seconds, even on the fastest CPUs, takes minutes, like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
it's not a very core dependent. Like if you do one warp stabilization, it's not super core dependent.
Yeah.
Like it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it's pretty heavy. It's like 60-70% on a like a 4 or like a 6 core CPU.
Yeah.
But anyway, I apply like 20 at once. And interestingly, Jardeth, who uses a 1950X, says Premiere crashes for me if I stick like 20 warps on at once. Interestingly, my 1950X doesn't. It does that really well. I haven't tried doing that though with 32 gig RAM. I was doing it with 64. So how much RAM have you got in your system? Because I know when you do those kind of things, it can be quite memory intensive. Yep. So maybe that's a memory issue. It's crashing because it's, maybe.
But
tell me how much
basically,
memory
if you're wanting to run multiple warp stabilizations at once, like concurrently,
yes,
then you need fast and lots of cores. So, you know, a multi-core CPU will definitely...
Yeah, so Jared says he has 64 gig almost always in use. But the point is, if you wanted to do 4 or 5, that will actually make the 1950X way faster than an 8700K overclock to 5 gigahertz.
Yeah.
So that is a benchmark that I'll introduce my 32-core Threadripper
Yep.
testing, and I'll see.
As Dan says, don't even bother getting out the gimbal. Yeah, modern warp stabilizers seem to work quite well. As long as you're not.
If your camera has on the GH5 with warp stabilization was amazing. The G85 didn't work. It was like your image was just like it looked like it was out of some sort of Marvel movie. It was getting stretched all over the place. So yeah, it backfired on some of them. But yeah, I mean, with my electric slide is awesome. It's really smooth, but occasionally you just get like a little shudder and it wrecks the whole thing. But you warp stabilize that and it's beautiful.
Are we almost done? Well, we're waiting for our pizza to arrive.
I need to go to work soon. Well, you don't have to stay here. You can watch the 15 minutes or whatever it is that you end up... Well, I know Nick loves us and all that, but... Nah, we're just... I don't know. We're sort of waiting for our pizza at this point. So, we don't expect you guys to hang around.
I mean, the area that I live in, I've tried to order pizzas during the middle of the day before, and it's been pretty unreliable. In the evening, it's fine, but yeah.
See, last month when because we would do the live streams, the Patreon live streams weekly or fortnightly. It's just that it takes me 2 hours to get here and 2 hours to get home almost.
Yeah.
So we try to do that once a month. I take a day off once a month and come and spend it with Tim and you guys. And last month we could have gone for 3 hours because we had plenty of spare time. I'm kind of trapped here because once I come to Tim's place, I can't leave till about 7 p.m. because if I do, the traffic's horrendous and I don't get home till 7 p.m. anyway. I think 2 months ago, we'd wrapped up everything. We had nothing to do. We discussed everything we needed to discuss, and it was about 3 o'clock. And I said, there's no point staying for dinner and that. I'll get home, see my kids and all that sort of stuff. I had to bail at Fountain Gate and get something to eat. It was seriously doing my head in. So I was just rolling a foot every few minutes.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
So yeah, I don't leave before 7 p.m. now. No, I can't deal with traffic. I live in the country. If I get one car in front of me out there, I'll lose my mind. So I can't do the traffic. But it was a nice cruise in this morning. I got here an hour early. So I just set the cruise control.
Yeah, that was good.
They've opened all 4 lanes now, the whole way along. So,
have they? They've finally ended the roadworks.
Yep, all done. So it was smooth sailing. So
that's taken them a century.
Yeah, it still would have been horrendous in peak hour if I had left it an hour earlier. Yeah.
But there's a lot of problems with changing the speed limits throughout that zone. Have they fixed that?
Yeah, it's 100 the whole way now.
Next time I come out your way, it's going to be so much better then.
A mega tasking benchmark. I did that is Ryzen more future-proof for gamers video. And the most common, we discussed this actually, so we might as well discuss it again and add to it. The most common criticism there from some viewers, like most people enjoyed that video, but a lot of people were upset because test systems are clean, unrealistic builds, and when you have a realistic gaming system that you game on, that extra core headroom comes in handy for running background applications. It's a fair enough argument.
Yep.
So I want to look into, having all your Chrome tabs, your Discord, all the stuff that these guys are saying they have open, how much impact that makes. I have my suspicions on what the results will be, but I'll do the testing anyway and we'll see. And then, or if you're a streamer. Look, if you're a streamer, and that's something I want Tim to really investigate as well as look at streaming, because I did a bit of streaming.
Plans.
Yeah, I did a bit of streaming benchmarks, and there seems to be some misconceptions there. But anyway, I want Tim to look into that and give us all the facts. But if you're a streamer, sure, get the 8-core CPU if you stream, But there's more to that anyway. As with all these arguments, there's a lot more than just saying, I'm a streamer, therefore I need 8 cores, because that's not necessarily true. I don't feel, but
yeah,
we'll get to the bottom of that.
We really want to investigate. We know that you can use really fast CPU presets, or you can use your GPU encoder. Mm-hmm. And what we really want to see is when you send the video off to a Twitch or YouTube, and you're using a really high quality CPU, encoding, versus a quick and dirty GPU encode. When it gets to YouTube or Twitch, is the quality noticeably different such that it's worth having the extra CPU cores to do the high quality CPU encode? Or even then, like, what is the actual difference between the GPU and CPU fast sort of encoding? Because what people say is basically what you want to have your fast multi-core CPU for is so that you can run those higher like X264 presets that give you better visual quality, so then your streams are higher quality. But having played around a bit with encoding and stuff, I think the performance penalty you get for trying to run a really high quality encode for such a tiny visual benefit once it goes through Twitch processing or YouTube processing or whatever is definitely not going to be worth it.
Yeah, look,
that's my theory, and we'll be testing
I'm certain you're right. It's like everyone makes this so black and white. You need this because. You don't do that because. It's like try to not look at it like that. Like
There's a lot of different options for streaming.
That's right. There's going to be 3 answers. There always is, and it's the same thing with these background applications. So guys say, "Oh, no, I have Chrome open, I have this open, I have that open." I say, "Yeah, but all that stuff in the background isn't using much CPU resources." But they're like, "But I watch 4K YouTube videos while playing games." And Tim and I sort of discussed this, and I'm interested to see what you guys think about this. But that's the argument. People need Ryzen 7 because they watch YouTube while they're gaming. And I sort of think, well, I do a bit of gaming, and I was a mad gamer back in the day, so I certainly understand competitive gaming. If you're serious about gaming and you've got this rig because you want the best gaming experience, and you've argued for Ryzen 7 or you've argued for Core i7 because it gives you the best experience for whatever reason, if you're playing a competitive game and you want a good experience, you're not listening to Gamers Nexus or Harbor Unboxed or anyone else on a YouTube video while you're trying to hear the guy creeping up behind you in a building or whatever game you might be playing. Even StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2, you definitely want audio and you want to be locked in because you want to hear if there's an oracle about to wipe out all your probes.
You want to be focused on what you're doing.
Well, the sounds way off screen will tell you what is happening, what sort of harassment is going on. And having someone on YouTube there, so then, okay, you're just a casual gamer. You don't care about playing Master League or whatever. You don't care about winning a Fortnite battle. You're just having a bit of fun. In that case, do you care if you have a slight frame hitch every minute or so because you're watching a YouTube video? Like, the argument sort of seems to be one or the other. You're either a competitive locked-in gamer, in which sense, when you go to play that competitive game, everything else is closed as it should be, or you're casual and you watch some games as you play, and then you don't really care if you get a small micro stutter once a minute.
Yeah, and like I was mentioning to you before we started the stream, I think when it comes to all those sort of utilization type situations, like, is it better to have your CPU run at 40% or 60%, or how much headroom do you need, especially in memory, in CPU, whatever, I still think people have this misconception that if you're running at the higher percentage that you're running a component, the worse your performance is. When really, you could run a CPU at 98% utilization and it would be just as fast as running it at 20%. Provided you're not running it fully and choking the system, the utilization percentage has no bearing on what performance level you've got.
And it's not even that simple. You can't compare utilization figures from Coffee Lake to 2nd Gen Ryzen.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about utilization. So it's very complicated. Very complicated. Because you can have, like, average utilization on both CPUs. It doesn't mean they're both spitting out the same type of performance.
Yeah.
Even by core, breaking it down on per core utilization, it still doesn't mean anything. So it's
yeah, I agree with Zed that a high 78%, 98% utilization won't handle spikes very well. That's true, because the spikes will be pushing you above 100%. But if you're most of the time like running at a very low level of utilization, then you can quite handily just dump as many extra processes in your usage as you want.
Yeah, but I mean, even what he's saying is true, but a perfect example is get a 2500K, give it some fast DDR3 memory and overclock it to 4 gigahertz or whatever, then get any FX CPU you like. It really doesn't matter. Get the fastest one you can get your hands on. And you'll see the FX CPU at like 70% utilization. I can't remember. I've actually done that test on the channel. It's like 70 or 80%. And the 2500K is just pegged at 100%. It's just locked there. And that system had Chrome in the background. It had Discord. It had Origin, Steam, Uplay. We have a lot of crap. It had MSI Afterburner, Riva Tuner, and that all both systems had all that crap open. The 2500K was just pegged at 100%. Like, it didn't budge for the whole test. And it was smooth as silk, and it was spitting out like 90 frames per second. The FX system that was on 70% utilization was like 30, 40% down on the Sandy Ridge system, and it was stuttery as all get out. Like,
Yeah. There's a lot of different. There's a lot of different bottlenecks.
So if you were if you were to focus heavily on utilization, you would be getting the wrong story on that one.
Yeah, and as well, on top of all that, you know, operating systems have schedulers in them that tell the processor and all the components in the system what tasks you should be doing when you should be putting things into memory and out of memory, when you should be running tasks. And when it comes to gaming, if you're running a whole bunch of stuff in the background, then all of those things will be deprioritized.
That's right.
And a functional operating system like Windows 10, for example, does this quite effectively.
I say that, people always bash me for it.
So, for example, if you're running Chrome, and I'm assuming here that your Chrome tab is in the background, it's not active, you're not watching a YouTube video, you've got all your tabs open or whatever, and it's minimized.
It's doing nothing.
It's not doing anything. It is not going to impact your performance because Windows knows that at the time that you're gaming while Chrome's open, that it's going to need to be allocating its resources to the game first.
Yes.
And that's pretty much exactly what it does. But of course, it's a different situation if you're running, Chrome on one window and a game on another.
Yes.
That's simultaneous usage.
That is, yeah.
But when you've got these background tasks, it's not like the operating system is allocating the exact same amount of stuff for each different...
It's very obviously prioritizing things. And you can see it very easily when you alt-tab out of a game. So if you alt-tab out of a really heavy game that's using tons of cores, tons of memory, you alt-tab and you go back to your tabs, your Chrome tabs will be like crap. You'll click on something and it'll jump up on the screen and bits of it will be loading in as it's trying to sort stuff out of the page file back into the memory. Meanwhile, your game is being deprioritized. And if you do that for long enough, pretty much all of the tabs and all the information is loaded back into memory. And then you click back into your game, you get in the game and it's a stuttery mess for 30 seconds while it sorts everything back out. So that's why you'll notice if you if you use a system that has twice the amount of memory that you're used to, you'll be alt-tabbing like crazy. You'll be like, what the hell? This CPU is so fast. I can alt-tab out of games and I can do this. And that's just because you're not shifting the data that you're working with or going to work with in and out of the page file. It's just all sitting in memory.
And this is exactly what we were talking about earlier, is that it always frustrates me. I know that it's a fun joke to mention how much memory Chrome uses. But the fact of the matter is that if Chrome is not using the maximum amount of memory in your system, then it has absolutely no impact on the performance. And it's actually beneficial for Chrome to use as much memory as it needs to run at the performance levels that you'd want. So if you've got 16 gig and you're using 12 gig on Chrome, that sounds like heaps. It's only a browser. Why is it using 12 gig? But you're not using 16 gigs, so you're not swapping things in and out of the page file. There's more room to maneuver there. But also, it's loaded as much stuff as it possibly needs into the memory, so it's easily accessible whenever you're switching between tabs, whenever you're scrolling. And I think if you've ever noticed on a phone, for example, if you load some web pages, you might start scrolling on a web page, and eventually you'll get to a point where it hasn't loaded that part of the web page yet, and it sort of will pixelate or sort of blur out until it loads. And that's because the phone doesn't have enough memory to load the entire web page in it. Whereas on Chrome, on a desktop, you have that advantage of having so much more memory that you can load entire web pages, get smooth scrolling, get smooth tabbing, and all that sort of thing. So it's actually beneficial if you're running a 16 gigs of RAM and you're only using Chrome for it to use 14 gig of RAM. That's in its best interest.
Sure. If you just if you keep opening tabs and keep loading things, it's going to keep putting that into the memory until it gets to the threshold where the operating system says you are taking too much of the system memory.
Yeah.
So no more.
And then sure, you might have a disadvantage when you're using 14 gig of RAM and then you open another application that wants to use more than the remaining amount. Then it's going to have to do some manipulation of stuff into the page file. Mm-hmm. But for a lot of people that are just running Chrome and complaining about how much RAM they're using, or any application, for Premiere, for example, no one's complaining that Premiere uses, when you're editing, over 30 gig of RAM on a system with a lot of RAM. It does that to make it fast, and it's the exact same thing with Chrome.
Absolutely.
So anyway, that's my rant about Chrome. I do enjoy the jokes though. I always think they're funny. But any modern
Your
browser
RAM
uses
rant.
lots
Well,
of
it's the
that.
exact same thing when I did the memory capacity video that I did. I think it was December last year. I'm going to do that again late this year once we get all the new games out. So see how much RAM those games use and how the different video cards can impact that. But again, people were like, oh, but it's a test system, so all the data's meaningless because on my gaming system, I don't close my Chrome tabs before I play the game. I'm like, well, it doesn't make any difference. Like, it's not keeping that all in there if there's not enough room to load the game into the memory with your Chrome tabs. It'll make the game initially longer to load because it's shuffling stuff in and out of memory.
But it's not like that process that you've specifically told your operating system to execute and is the active window or whatever is going to run into a block because you've got all these programs that you're using, like taking up resources.
Yeah.
The operating system knows that you've asked it to do something and it's your active task. Give that the highest priority.
That's right. And then the thing that it's hard to benchmark this, but it should be like saying, okay, you haven't used this thing for a long time, or this is no longer a priority. It's the least important thing. Move that to the page file.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a juggling act, but that's generally how it does.
And again, same thing with phones. Like you shouldn't be closing applications on your phone. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, my phone's running slow. I'm going to go into the app switcher menu and then close all the apps. But the actual thing that does is make your phone slower because it's closing apps that you might be switching back into later. It's getting rid of those from your memory. And if your memory isn't fully utilized, again, it's going to have to load that from storage. So you basically, by closing apps, you want as many apps that you've been using in the RAM as possible.
Well, that slows it down as well because the processor has to get that to load into the memory.
Exactly.
So
what you want is have all those apps you've been recently
handling.
using. You want all of those in the memory so you can quickly switch between them.
Yeah.
And then in the background, it's going to manage the apps you've been recently using and get rid of some.
Yeah, it's like on 32 core rewind. It's like on the 1950X, 16 cores, 32 threads. I can actually load up a game like Star Wars Battlefront 2 and try and get a game in it, which I've done before. And if there's no game, I can load up something else like StarCraft 2 or Fortnite. And I can alt-tab between the two because A, I've got enough memory and enough processing threads to dedicate to them. And rather than loading Star Wars all over again, I can just alt-tab to it instantly. So it's kind of like what you're talking about. It's just with much heavier applications.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's beneficial to run your system if you need to use more of your system rather than just having it sitting around doing nothing. I mean, sure, on the CPU side, you will use more power to run for high utilization. But as far as memory is concerned, there's really no difference in... I believe no difference in power consumption between fully loaded RAM and not loaded RAM.
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that.
I think there's definitely power while it's being used, but as far as idle, then there's no difference. But
yeah, no, there shouldn't be. No, you'd only be using the power moving in and out.
Yeah, and maintaining the...
Yeah, and
maintaining.
Yeah.
Uses power.
Well, that was... Yeah.
But that should make... There'd be no difference
between load and idle for that.
I mean, Sal says here it uses 5 watts, it's irrelevant. It's... You say that for... It is irrelevant for a desktop system, but for a laptop, it's not. 5 watts is...
5 watts is 5
can make
watts,
a difference.
Yeah. And for a phone...
So when we're moved towards like DDR5, if they can take down, it from like 1.4 volts to 1.1 volts and run it much lower power consumption for the same speed, that actually is that makes a big difference to battery life.
Yeah, for mobile devices, sure.
Even especially if you use a 15 watt CPU and you've got an extra 5 watts for memory, that's like a lot.
Well, it depends how much memory you got installed as well.
Yeah.
If you've got 128 gigs, yeah.
Yeah, LPDDR4 uses like nothing.
Yeah.
Remember when this pizza's arriving? It's been
been
nearly an hour since we ordered it.
Wow.
It's pretty slow.
We're benchmarking local pizza joints at Tim's place. We'll do a different one each live stream and we'll see who's the fastest.
I think it's been 45 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Do you get it for free?
Usually it takes about this long.
Yeah, first live stream where we benchmark pizza delivery.
Yeah, riveting stuff, I know.
Yeah, no, the guys are on the edge of their seat, so I could just tell.
Yeah. Yeah, about 50 minutes.
Steve, ever thought about assigning scores to the things you review? Well, I don't really review many products. and I don't really do that kind of content. So I suppose CPUs, GPUs. We do it at TechSpot. I'm not really a fan of the scoring stuff.
No, neither am I. I mean, it's a requirement for reviews on TechSpot. Like editorial stuff.
I hate it. Because I suppose
it's too simple.
You're watching the video to get all the information and work out what areas are important to you. Because again, it's like we don't do content where it's like really narrow. We try to review it for lots of different use cases and what you may want, what you may not want, what kind of budget you have. So I think it's too simplified. I'm not a fan.
I think too many people just go straight to the score and sort of see which thing has got a better score when it doesn't. Yeah, and as Zed Hardy says, it doesn't age well either because unless you're updating the scores for everything as new products are released, then that score's outdated as soon as something better comes along. You need to reshuffle based on price and performance.
I think a cons and pros wrap up for written form stuff's really good.
Yeah,
just to summarize the negative and positive aspects that you've
summarize the main findings. If you don't want to read the whole thing, then
that's fine. I mean, I don't hate scores. I just don't really care for them. I don't know. And whenever on TechSpot they're like, "What score do you want to give it?" It's like, and then you've got to work out what score you gave that last GPU and does that make sense? And it's easier just to say what.
It's easier just to describe it.
Yeah, because the fact that the Founders Edition GTX 1080 was loud and hot, that's a definite con. But I don't know. Do you give it a worse score than that because you don't know what the partner cards were going to do the month after? And people like the Founders Edition cards for some wacky reason. So I don't know. It's easier just to give your opinion and show the data. And I don't know. Damn it, I'm really hungry though. I'm too hungry to be assessing scores. Oh man, what's going on here? We'll hang in for another 20 minutes. If it doesn't arrive in 20 minutes, we're going to have to go to Nando's. Do you guys like Nando's? I love Nando's. Tim is like, doesn't mind it.
Nando's is fine, but you're like, you go crazy for Nando's.
I tried to get Tim to do Nando's twice last time, and he only settled for lunch. So actually, that dinner we got was awesome at that burger place.
Yeah, the burger place is quite good.
Reference cards are very bad, says Sal Kagan. I agree, they're rubbish. We said the FE cards weren't worth buying, and it sucks that you have to wait a month before you can buy a good version of the 1080.
So Sal Kagan asked, what the hell is Nando's? It's an African chicken joint.
Yeah, I mean...
Portuguese style.
Yeah, that's... Yep.
Oh, I've got a message now saying our pizza's coming right now.
Awesome. How long ago was that message?
Says it's on just now.
Oh, how fast is he driving? Does it give us an update on that?
It's in the same suburb. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Traffic shouldn't be too bad at 2 o'clock.
So yeah, Nando's is quite nice.
Spot the American. I didn't even know they didn't have Nando's in America.
They definitely have in the UK.
Okay.
And here in many other places, but I'm pretty sure it's not in.
Wow.
But yeah, it's it's like it's a chain and it's reasonably fast food, but it's like better than your sort of McDonald's and KFC's.
It's like good quality food.
Yeah,
and you don't feel like
it's like a step up from that.
Many steps in my opinion.
Yeah, so there's like a few places that we have a sort of that higher end fast food place, so you pay a bit more, but yeah, it's quite good. I enjoy Nando's. I mean,
well, I like is the nearest Nando's from my house is like an hour. I never get to go to Nando's.
Just every time you come over, you just like, please Tim, please choose Nando's for dinner.
Yeah. I was telling Tim a funny story. Well, I think it's kind of funny. One of my friends, it was actually late last year around Christmas time, he wanted to build a deck at his house. And he got a couple of quotes for a deck, and it was astronomically expensive to get a builder to build a deck. And I opened my big mouth and said, I could help build a deck if you want. So he wrote me into that one, said, yeah, sure. So he built a deck at his house. It took about 3 days from start to finish. It was about an 8 metre by 4 metre deck, so it was fairly sizey. And I said, my only because he said, I'll shout your food for helping out. So I'm like, yeah, no worries. So I said, he goes, what do you like? I said, Nando's. And it was about 8 o'clock in the morning when we started. He goes, what do you want for breakfast? I said, now that we've said Nando's, I want Nando's. So I had Nando's. Then we got to 11 o'clock. He goes, what do you want for lunch? I said, that Nando's chicken was pretty good. So he got Nando's again. And then for dinner, he goes, you want Nando's? I said, yeah.
Did you get the same thing? Like, did you get the same meal, or did you like switch up between the wraps and the
yeah, I
burgers?
switched up between. No, I like the wraps and the chicken pieces, so I alternated between. I think I got the chicken pieces for breakfast, wrap for lunch, chicken piece, and I did that for all. What was it? 3 days, I think it was.
I like the pita when it's well made, but I usually go for the burgers. The chicken pieces, I'm not as sold on, because I think if I go out to a place like just the barbecue chicken, But when it's in a burger, the burgers are quite good. I've now found the things I like there. Yeah.
So anyway,
back where I used to live in Geelong, like all the Nando's there were terrible. Like it used to come out cold too often.
Oh wow! Now this place was fresh, so good. So I seriously think I did Nando's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days. I know I did it for 2. It was so good.
It's not something you should be proud of, Steve. It's an embarrassment.
I said to my mate, I'd just build decks full time if this was the payment. It was so good. I'm proud of it. It was great. One of the highlights of late last year.
If that's the highlight of your year, man, you've got to reassess some things in your life.
What are you talking about? I think there's something wrong with you.
That said, one of my mates did go to a store opening of a Nando's. He camped out in front of the store opening for like hours waiting for it to open.
You told me that last time, and I said honestly, if they opened a Nando's in my town, I wouldn't have to camp out because there wouldn't be that much competition. But if I had to do that to get a store locally, I would do it. Even within 20 minutes, I'd do it. So yeah, I'm probably talking up Nando's too much, but it is good at the shop we go to. Your one was good.
Yep.
Except for the fact that they
were very busy or something.
Yeah, the chips came out like bloody 20 minutes after we got our wraps and burgers and whatnot.
Yeah, that was weird.
Anyway, I don't do much fast food takeaway stuff, but when I do, I don't like McDonald's, I don't like KFC, I don't like Red Rooster, I don't like all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's just not that. Like, if you're going to go out, like, you don't necessarily have to go out, but like, if you're going to go get some fast food, like your Nando's, or go to a good burger joint, there's plenty of those places around here. So
yeah. Yeah, not into the mainstream ones.
Yeah.
So
maybe for like a quick meal at midnight or something, but
yeah,
that's about it.
Yep. Man, we are dragging this pizza thing out big time. We've still got a few guys hanging in there, though. This is going to be the worst stream to watch back.
Yeah, just us killing time while we wait for our pizzas.
We're still should have brought some, I ordered, I'm filthy about this, I haven't told you either. I knew I shouldn't have done it. I think it was some of the guys in Discord I was talking about, the 3GB GTX 1050.
Oh, you told me you'd ordered one.
I ordered one from EVGA directly, but because they were selling them on eBay.
Yep.
And the eBay delivery time was like a week and a half. That was the time it was like $300 or something. So I went and did it. And I've been watching the tracking number. The tracking number said it was delivered yesterday, but it wasn't. And EVGA send it to eBay, who then handle international shipping.
Right.
So I'm not going to get it till the end of the month. And now I can buy them locally.
Wait, did you buy it from ebay.com or .com.au?
.com.au.
Huh.
Yeah. It was the only
so that time estimate was completely wrong.
The time estimate was accurate if they used UPS. But they used UPS to send it to eBay's dispatch center in the US, which then sends it to me, which then updates you with a new tracking number, and it's not till the 30th that I'm getting it.
I've ordered stuff from overseas using ebay.com, and the time that they list has always been accurate.
Yeah, because they just send it with who they're saying they're sending it to. They said eBay gets some kickback or discount from eBay if they send it through their sorting facility.
Oh, okay.
Some BS. I've had that happen with 1 or 2 products before and then to return it as well, you have to get your... I got a tablet or something once upon a time from the US and it was broken, and then I just sent it back and I had to get I got a refund from the seller, but it was like 50 US short, and then I had to apply for a refund from eBay separately. It was a whole mess. So anyway, I'm not going to get the 3GB 1050 video up till next month now. So
that sucks.
Yeah. But it doesn't really matter because we've got content every day. We've got a video planned every day now till early next month, so we probably wouldn't have been able to squeeze it in anyway. So not the end of the world, but I would have squeezed it if we had got it because I think that's an interesting product to look at. Anyway, it sits pretty much between the 2GB 1050 and the 1050 Ti, which comes with 4GB. Yep. So it's actually not slower than the 2GB card. So that's something. It has the same core configuration as the 1050 Ti. but less memory bandwidth than the standard 1050. So it's just a weird compromise product. Anyway, so there's that. Still no pizza.
Devastating.
So yeah, a bit annoyed about that one.
It's pretty typical for Melbourne, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have just waited. I knew I should have waited, but I think it was a couple of the guys in the Discord chat were like, "Nah, get this one. Should you still do it?" I'll probably. I mean, a Wreckfest breakdown. This is the Carl Sagan's been pushing me to do that. I should read out the comment, but you guys can all see the comments. It's not an official thing that we're doing. We're just waffling on. Because, yeah, Sal Kagan said do a Wreckfest breakdown because now it's part of the benchmarking suite. But I just don't have time to fit it in at the moment. And I kind of want to do it. I'm not super interested because we've done a lot of the testing already, which kind of would make it an easy video to make, but there's a bit of other testing I'd have to do. I don't know. I'm not saying I won't do it. It's just...
I mean, it's popular enough as a game, but I don't think it's as popular as some of the titles will be coming out later in the year.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. We just have...
Oh, I'd have to
go
to the toilet at this point. Yep.
We have so much content to do as it is. Like, I always laugh. It's one of my favorite comments when we do some sort of video. Like, it happens on the Throwback Thursdays all the time. So I'll do a Throwback Thursday, look at an old GPU, and you'll get like half a dozen comments of guys going, "Oh, you know, you can tell the tech channels are in between releases because they're doing bottom of the barrel testing," or, you know, "you're struggling for content," which is never the case with us. There's always a million things we would like to do. Tim and I both have a list of over 50 ideas, and we sort of prioritize them by how interested we are in doing them. But it's like the downcore feature of the Ryzen processors, you know, doing sort of lopping off a CCX, which is another thing that Sal Kagan, you've been asking for. And I really want to do the 2700X with a 2+2 or a 4+0. I really want to do that kind of testing with a heap of different memory speeds and a few different games and see what results we get there. I don't know when I'm going to fit that in, but I would like to do that. There's a heap of videos that we would like to make that we just haven't. I didn't think Wreckfest was that popular, to be honest with you, but maybe it is kind of popular. I don't know. That's it. Like, I think it was... Oh, what video? I think... Oh, Vermintide 2. I thought that was a pretty cool game. Well made, good game engine, plays well. I did a video on that. It just got, to this day, like 10,000 views. So it really wasn't worth the 3 or 4 days of non-stop benchmarking I did to create that video. But for the 10,000 people that watched it, I hope they enjoyed it. So I honestly don't think a Wreckfest video would be worth the investment. I don't think it would get a lot of views.
I want to play the game, though.
It's a cool game. Yeah, we should get a multiplayer Wreckfest thing going. That'd be cool. I haven't played it much. I've played it a little bit just to work out where to benchmark. But yeah, there's some weird results coming out of it, so I would like to dig in a bit deeper. Come on, I'm so hungry. I don't do well when I'm hungry. Start getting delirious.
Yep. Should have bought our pizza earlier.
This backfired big time. Next time we it's a learning experience.
Next time we've got to order the pizza at the start of the stream, then it'll come...
You know what'll happen though, we'll do that and it'll be 15 minutes in, we're trying to take questions and do stuff and we've got to shovel down pizza.
Yep.
So... But yes. What time is it over in the US at the moment?
Oh, it must be pretty late. Near midnight, I would have thought.
I would have thought so. I think we've talked about... We've just about exhausted all the topics that there is to talk about. And we've pretty much gone through the next week and a half of videos that we've got planned on the channel.
Well, we've been going for nearly 2.5 hours. That's much longer than normal.
Oh, it's 5 a.m. That must be in the UK. 5:20 a.m.
Yeah, I looked at
9:30.
West Coast about 9:30 p.m.
It's so difficult to pick a time to stream because we could do this at pretty much any time from 12 till about... Well, we wouldn't really want to go too late, but yeah. And we could mix it up, I suppose, and do different times, but I don't know. Because if we just do it later, then I think that closes the window on how many of the members would be able to watch.
Yeah, we really can't do it that much earlier, which would be better for US, worse for Europe.
Yeah. I don't know, and the Aussie viewers kind of hate it because most of them are at work. So.
Yeah, so I mean trying to do it for Europe is basically impossible because if you want to hit that sort of Europe evening time, which is probably the best for streaming, it's like middle of the night here.
Mm.
And then we could do it for here in the evening, but then a lot of the people in the places that most people watch us from, it's completely terrible. So, yeah, when we did one at 5 p.m. I think a while back, but people suggested we did it earlier.
Yeah,
I think it's been working a bit better since doing
this
it earlier.
has been the best time that we've worked out for, the majority of the viewers. So we've had about 15 to 20 people in the whole time. So for the Patreon stream, that's pretty good. But yeah. I mean, we've got nothing else to do apart from wait for our pizza, so we might as well just keep streaming because we're just going to sit at the door waiting, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much.
We've got nothing else to talk about tech-wise. We've pretty much covered everything. I know there's something interesting I could be telling the guys, but it's just not coming to me at the moment.
Yep, all that stuff. We've still got to film the Q&A after this as well. So
got to film the Q&A. We've got about 25 to 30 questions. So if you have anything... Oh, is that the pizza?
If the dog's barking, that's probably pizza.
Oh, I'm so excited. So excited. You missed something at Tim. Let's hear it. What are we missing here? We're always missing something. What games are you playing now? I was playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 a little while ago just to try and... I actually enjoyed that game, but it's just dead. So we can't get a game, so I don't play that anymore. I've pretty much played StarCraft 2 to death. Still love it, but I've given that one a break. We played Vermintide 2 for a little bit, but that got old real quick for me. Don't know if I should admit this or not, but I'm absolutely loving Fortnite at the moment. So, haven't got a huge amount of time to play games, but I've gotten into Fortnite. I actually love the 50 vs 50 mode. That is just a heap of fun. What else? Oh, and Overwatch. I'm playing a lot of Overwatch. So, I enjoy Overwatch as well. That's always a good game.
Well, let's see if this pizza's any good.
So yeah, that's what I'm playing. And hopefully at some point in the not too distant future we can do like a live gaming session or something. Get a couple of you guys in there. I know I've talked about that before, but we need to set up an area where we can do that. Okay, so Kagan asked, we need your thoughts on the new Mac that throttles below base clocks.
So, some meat lovers there, and that
well,
one.
that new Mac that throttles below base clocks is all news to me. Do you know about the new Mac that throttles below base clocks? Is that... I don't know anything about it, so... You won't get any Mac news from me.
I'm just going to cut her for that one.
Ooh, it's hot. I'm not even waiting, I'm just getting straight in. I'm that hungry.
Alright, yep.
Tell us about the Mac while I try and eat this.
So the Mac, yeah, there's a Mac that's got a Core i9 processor in it, the Core i9 H series, and apparently it doesn't, under normal operating conditions, it doesn't even reach the base clock.
What?
It throttles.
Wow. Have they tried to make that thing too thin or something and too sleek looking and it's just not...
Yeah, pretty much.
It is worth the burnt mouth, or the risk of a burnt mouth. I want pizza now.
Oh my god, you're right, it's really hot.
It's hot, but it's worth it.
Oh.
Yeah, well that Apple product sounds real bad.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's really bad. I don't know how they could stuff it up so much. I reckon they probably just got, for the old 4 cores, they just used their cooling solution. We're like, yeah, this will be fine. And then, yeah.
So good. I'm so hungry. I'm enjoying this way more than I should be. ZZR Hardy is out of here. Thanks for watching for however long it was.
2.5 hours? Yeah, fun stuff.
Mmm.
Eating pizza on a stream, just what we want to be doing.
Yeah, well, we'll end it soon. We might as well. We're pretty much at the end anyway. Oh, so good though. That was Probably not worth the 2 hours, but anyway. They stuck 4 and 6 cores in there and didn't change the cooling. So was this from the old dual core design?
I think the older Macs did have the quad core 8 series stuff in there, but the i9, I think they probably have designed their cooling solution not quite hit 45 watts.
Yeah, okay.
For the older parts, because they often run well below 45.
Wow.
The new ones do come pretty close. So it's possible they're either running down configuration, or their cooler isn't up to it. And you would only run at the down configuration if your cooler isn't up to it. So
Yep.
Sal
says we should have got Nando's. Don't you worry. I've already been thinking about Nando's for dinner. See how Tim goes on that one.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll go to Nando's for dinner if you want.
Got the Nando's locked in. Thanks, guys.
They'd be loving life.
Yeah, I'll be happy. I'll be able to go home and benchmark like crazy tomorrow. Actually, I'll probably... he's plotting to murder you after the camera goes off. Very funny. Pizza and Nando's dream day. You're right, Dan. You are right. So now, M-Wave with the NVIDIA Shield ad. What about it?
I don't know anything about that. Is there some Shield ad at M-Wave? I know they're selling the NVIDIA Shield here in Australia now, but apart from that...
Is it on their website? What's special about this ad?
No idea. It must be available now or something.
There you go.
Yeah, I have an NVIDIA Shield. I think it's really good.
Cool.
It's the only device that, back when I was researching, that could do 4K 10-bit HEVC decoding. Only one, which makes it the best. I'm gonna have some of this one. How's that one? Good?
Pretty much by default. Yeah, it's good. I'm trying not to get it everywhere. A somewhat dignified pizza eating. Second the camera goes off, I'm just inhaling this thing. Ah! Dropping it.
Man, this pizza's loaded compared to the other one.
Oh, yeah. So it was worth the wait. Maybe next month we'll get some drinks and some snacks to tie us over for our 3-hour live stream. I've not used the Shield, so I know nothing about it. So
it's good, very compatible.
Okay. I don't really... Sahal was saying to me, I think we were chatting privately the other day, and I was saying, do you use Plex? And you always telling me to use Plex.
Yep.
I've used Plex before, I know all about it, but it's like, I live at my computer almost, it's sad. And if I'm not at my computer, I'm spending time with my kids and not using a computer.
Got some of this Hardware Unboxed official garlic bread. And yes, the audio decoding features of Plex, I mean, NVIDIA Shield are quite good as well. It's quite a moist garlic bread.
You don't get this on the WAN show.
No eating food at the end of a stream, that's for sure.
We missed it, the Pizza Unboxed live stream. Dan's not loving the stream. He's suffering.
Got to suffer through us eating, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad looking garlic bread.
No, it's not soggy, it's just got a lot of garlic butter on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's soft, but it's fine. It's nice, it's tasty. I was just laughing. I love how there's still guys in here Just hanging in here.
Well, I mean, we've got to eat this pizza at some point. May as well do it on camera.
We're quite literally learning that we can live stream anything to these guys, and they'll still pay us money each month.
Yeah.
So, cheers.
We've got to eat at some point. Whole lives are on camera now, you know.
No, that's funny. There's still like 15 of you in here. So. Pretty much. Yeah, the garlic bread's good.
We'll have to do an ASMR eating video at some point with our mouth sounds, just for the Patreons, you know.
For Sal Kagan, I'd say I've eaten a fair bit of garlic bread in my time. I'd give this a 90 out of 100. So,
Yep.
cons and pros list to come. I think I'm that hungry now, though. I don't think it'd be good. We're still here because the stream's still up.
Well, we're only still up because you guys are here, so it's just a never-ending circle.
We should 1 month we'll just live stream as long as we can. We'll just keep ordering pizza, see how many people hang around for.
We could just film our video while film the Q&As that we need to do while live streaming. You can see our stuff-ups. I'm just wondering what the people that watch this video back later are going to be doing. Like, will the people that are watching the replay of this get to 2 hours and 35 minutes in and be like, yeah, Steve and Tim eating pizza, that's what I came here for. That's what I see the Patreon live streams for.
If this was up on our main channel, the retention would be bad.
Yep.
Oh, update, talking of the main channel, update on our GTX 1180 joke video.
Yep.
It's up to like 300 subscribers gained now, which is a lot off a single video, because most people, if they subscribe, they do it like on another video, or they go to the main channel and subscribe there.
That's well above average.
Well above average, yep. Like, yeah, it's surprising how because we I think on a slow day we do about 200 new subscribers, but they're like pitter-pattered throughout videos that are years old. So, really popular videos will only gain you a couple of subs per day usually.
We lost some subscribers in the video as well, but
initially,
it was well outweighed.
But it was only the first day, yeah. Yeah, it was a good idea. Do more and hit 1 million by the end of the year. You do that, Jar Death, and then we'll do it. We'll copy you.
Yep.
I think at the way YouTube currently is and the way that it promotes videos and recommend it, because it's changed so much this year, I think for us to get to 1 million, even taking the fact that it's not linear, I reckon we would probably get to 1 million in 10 years. But I reckon it'd be more than 5, I think.
Yeah.
More than 5.
More than 5 years.
So it'd have to pick up significantly. But that's fine. Oh, I had to read that twice. I didn't know what he was talking about. Sal Kagan goes, everyone knows I'm the editorial director for the site anyway. If you guys ask Adord's Discord. Apparently there's a few angry folk in Adord's Discord. And apparently someone thinks I banned them, but I don't think I did. I don't know.
Well, we've only ever banned one person.
Well, we've banned lots of people because the spammers. You know, when I say banned,
oh, you mean on the
not from Discord, though. That guy wasn't happy at all either, which was a bit sad situation.
You might not like the spicy salami on that one.
As I was.
You spice noob.
You big softy.
Try my spice on it. It's good.
Yeah, I don't know. People get upset with us, but like I said,
nice one.
It's all going perfectly fine and nothing to see. Like I said, with our content, you're not just upsetting the AMD fanboys, you're upsetting the Intel or Nvidia fans at the exact same time, because no one seems to like an honest, objective review.
Yep.
Because we're never going to review a product from anyone, and this comes back to the score thing, and say it was awesome in every aspect, amazing product, go buy it now. I say this was good about it, this was bad. And with the Ryzen processors, perfect example. I could do a Ryzen review and say, if this is amazing, the value is amazing, the future compatibility is great, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good. This one thing needs work. And you would be triggering every AMD fanboy by that one bit of criticism that may even be constructive criticism. So you just can't please everyone.
That's life.
Pretty much. So anyway, yeah, not much more to say about that. I always think it's a really good comparison or a really good CPU battle or GPU battle or whatever. If both sides of the fence are upset with me, I know I've done a good job.
You need to activate Windows. What are you doing?
That's a clone of my desktop. Well, Sal, you're like the rest of the Harbour Unboxed employees. You're not getting paid that well. It's so funny because I was probably going to add the 8700 anyway because I was the one that went and did the testing anyway. So,
yep.
One of the few great things about Windows 10, it is easily cloned, it works well. I don't use my laptop much, so when I go on a trip or whatever, I just clone my desktop to my laptop. It's really easy.
Well, there was one time you left the charger for it here for a month.
Yeah, I left my...
Didn't care?
Didn't care. I just said, bring it next time. So you did. It was all good. What am I going to use a laptop for? I got like 30 desktop PCs at home.
Yep.
So...
I only ever use mine on the couch. Well, 2 pieces, that's probably enough for me for now.
Yeah.
I have to hold out to this Nando's anyway. Got a spare pizza?
I give Tim a hard time.
This one was okay. This one was the Star pizza. That one was quite good.
Because we spent the week living together in Taiwan, I was just cracking up at Tim the whole time. Like, wherever we went somewhere to eat, it was like, I'd finish my meal, I'd sit there and be like, all right, Tim, you got 20 minutes and I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm not a quick eater.
I didn't think I was that fast, but compared to Tim, I'm bloody lightning speed.
It's my Woolworth Shill water here. Breakfast pizza. Yeah, I love the breakfast pizza.
We're going to work out for Computex next year if we do Mega Mix 2 or something else.
Yeah. I think there'll be some demand for Mega Mix, that's for sure.
Mm.
Unfortunately, my favourite pizza place isn't open during the day.
Oh.
I think their pizza is the best. But I don't like that one. Good. Meat lovers. Yeah, we've got to get Kev back.
Kev will have some news that relates to Taiwan soon. So,
Yeah.
I won't say anything yet because I don't know if he's said anything on his channel.
Oh, drinking 9 bottles of asparagus juice.
I reckon Jared should come to Computex next year and join us.
Yeah, come on, Jared. What are you doing? There's laptops there. And other things.
We might get an Airbnb next year so you can come and stay with us if you want. Get in on the Mega Mix 2 action. He's like, nah, I'm good.
You can come stay, but you have to join in on the Mega Mix.
Oh, it's mandatory. That asparagus juice is so bad.
Oh, it's the
Cool.
worst. One of the worst things I've ever tasted in my life.
Jared says he'll probably go next year. Cool.
Nice.
Get him a sponsor and he'll be over there. So, the flight wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Pretty good. You got premium economy for it was
Yep.
like $1,500 return, so that's pretty good. So,
Yep.
get an Airbnb and we'll be set. We did a hotel, but I want to look into maybe Airbnb. Gamers Nexus did Airbnb.
Yeah. His looks really small though.
Yeah, well, we can probably
Height-wise.
we can probably get a normal sized person one.
And you're taller than him, so
Yeah, I think Steve's probably similar height to you.
yep, I think so.
Roasted coconut. That was pretty bad. That roasted coconut. Oh, did you see that in the unboxing idea?
Yeah.
I forgot what it was at the end of the stream. I had a big swig of it. Oh, so bad.
You get nightmares
Yeah.
still from it.
Oh, when I smelt the milky peanutty one, Seriously.
I'm not sure I could ever smell that again.
Oh.
After
Man, it was right back there in that hotel room. Oh. But anyway, I still laugh at that when you and Kev talk about it. You two sipped the glasses and I drank
it was
two full
it was
ones.
horrible, man. We
Yeah.
should probably end the stream and get to other stuff.
Yep. No, I think we've gotten to the point where it's getting pretty boring now. We've got nothing else to talk about, so we've got other things to do. And you guys, apparently you're locked into this stream until we end it, or at least Sal is.
Yep.
So
You got no choice but to watch it.
yeah, we'll release you guys, and you can go back to doing whatever you were doing. Cool.
All right, I'm gonna end
Well,
the stream.
thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging in there for however long it was, 3 hours.
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yep, 2 hours and 45 minutes. And we have plenty of content coming up, and we'll talk to in the Discord chat, and we'll see you again next month.
See you later.